And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. I am very excited today to feature another David Thompson design on the channel for the first time. It is For What Remains, specifically the Out of the Basement version of For What Remains. And I do say it that way because there are 3 versions of For What Remains. Each version comes with 2 factions, and each faction is very, very different than each of the others. So if you would like to have all 6 of the factions that are there, you will need to buy 3 different games. So what I have is For What Remains Out of the Basement. So it's kind of like the basement is like the underworld, and we'll get into kind of some of the story of that. And then the other ones are more futuristic police forces, and there's like a mechanical faction from what I've seen, but the whole thing is set in like a post-apocalyptic world. There was some nuclear testing that went really bad. It opened up a gateway to all sorts of badness that was hiding. So you have like the Fallen and the Nethermancers and Wraiths and oh my, and they somehow lived peacefully on Earth for a while, and now they're kind of doing their own thing to assert dominance. And so that is the Order, and that's who I'll be playing as today. And then we were going up against the Erthen. Now the Erthen were a man-made faction. They were I think made to fight off the Order originally, if I'm getting the lore and the flavor text and the narrative correct here. And the Erthen have realized that they were just being used by humans, and they were unhappy with their treatment, and promises were broken. So now the Erthen are out to assert their own dominance, and in this game today, they are just going at war with the Order. So again, I'm playing as the Order, I'm going up against the Erthen. It's a very, very well-designed AI, fairly simple. There's some issues with the rulebook, which I'll get to, but for the most part, a very, very fun solo experience that I have enjoyed diving deeper into. But before I go on, I should say this was a review copy sent to me by Darren Viersen Games, otherwise known as DVG, and I appreciate that, and I do appreciate, again, David Thompson himself, not only setting up and arranging for me to get this review copy so I can feature it on the channel, but also for his responsiveness and attention to my emails, as I wanted to make sure I got all the rules correct before we went ahead and filmed this. So I will say my first couple of plays of this game, I was like, okay, it's all right. But one of the things that has really made this game come to life for me in a way that I really, really like is there is a level up system for the different characters. So when you're only playing at the recruit level for each of the characters, that's the lowest of the levels. You have recruit, veteran, and elite. It just felt like, all right, get next to each other and then try to bash each other's heads in, and whoever, if you roll well, you're going to win. If you roll poorly, you're going to lose. But when you add the different levels, the veterans and the elites, it really becomes a much more tactical game. A lot of really interesting things happen. The abilities of the different units kind of expand, and there's a lot more depth that kind of falls into place. And we'll get into the nitty gritty of the different keywords. You'll see each of these units in front of me, right? So I have the Carnage, the Fallen, the Nethermancers, and the Wraith. You notice I skipped over the Thralls. The Thralls are basically humans that spent too much time with the Order, from what I understand, and now they're just kind of like these mindless things that the Nethermancers can bring in at different times. So they have a very different mechanic that goes along with them, which is super cool. Say you have a recruit. So I have a recruit Wraith over here. I have a veteran Nethermancer. So as a veteran Nethermancer, when he gets injured, what happens? It flips. If he gets injured a second time, he now has the recruit stat line, right? And if he gets injured again, he flips. He gets injured again, he is deceased and removed from the board. But that gives you a lot more play, whereas like if you're just playing with recruits, well, 2 hits and they're dead. Once you have veterans, well, 4 hits and they're dead, and once you have elites, well, 6 hits and they're dead. And it gives more opportunity for various types of healing to happen, and again, much more tactical richness that comes alive. So we'll get through all these units. So let me kind of tell you what I have going on the board right now. This is going to be a playthrough of scenario 5 of the Semi-Polytinx Legacy Out of the Basement. And this is a 5 scenario campaign, and I do believe that it links thematically with the 5 scenarios in the first version of For What Remains and the 5 scenarios in the second version of For What Remains. So you could have a 15 scenario thing going on if you really want to, but I'm not sure, again, how all that linkage happens. But each of these scenarios in here gives you a map, and so you have all these different terrain tiles. These are two-sided, so a bunch of different maps. You do have to overlay them a little bit, but overall it works fairly well, and you'll see all these different terrains on here, and we'll get to that and what all those little symbols mean. But you know, these scenarios give you a lot of options on how you want to play this game. I mean, you can really have 10 scenarios built in here. So there's 5 scenarios, and when you're playing as the Geomancers, I'm sorry, not the Geomancers, the Erthen. The Geomancer is a type of Erthen. When you're playing as the Erthen versus playing the Order, it's a very, very different scenario when you take the other side, right? So you have 10 scenarios built in, and it'll tell you what the setup's supposed to be. So I already have the units set up for the Erthen on the board to kind of save some time on camera here. And you could also create other scenarios, and within scenarios, often the scenario has some kind of victory goal that when you accomplish that goal, you win. This scenario is going to be a little bit, you know, we're going a little more old school here. Yeah, kill all enemies. All right. So we got some Gloomhaven going on. Kill all enemies. That is how this scenario will end. But there's going to be a little bit of narrative nuance as well. So you see what's going on is the Order and the Erthen have been going at it for these first 4 scenarios, and the Order, they went ahead and they busted up some, you know, nurseries and basically started to go after the pods with all of the Erthen children, right? And or yet to be born children, if I might say. I mean, the Erthen again are like these plant, vegetable, you know, matter, sentient being kind of thing. So in the last scenario, the Order was able to win by having control of 3 pods at the end of that scenario, but the Erthen were able to reclaim 2 of them before the scenario actually came to a close. So we will represent that. We will randomly put 1 each on 2 of the different Erthen units, and they will actually be able to spawn new units as we go. So ultimately, there's going to be 7 units that we're going to have to defeat if we're going to win today. At the same point, if we get a Nethermancer close to this gate, we will also be able to bring in new units as the scenario progresses, starting in scenario 2. However, we can never have more than 6 units on the board. Another thing I'll say about scenarios is the level up process. So each scenario tells you not only how many points you could spend to actually form your roster, right? So there are 2 Carnages, 2 Fallens, 2 Nethermancers, 2 Thralls. I'm sorry, the Thralls are linked to the Nethermancer. 2 Nethermancers, 2 Wraiths, and then 2 Abominations. And you see these point totals at the top, 3, 5, 8. So if you wanted to use your points to get a certain level of unit, you can totally do that to form your army for the scenario. Now, the early scenarios, I think the first roster was 10, then it goes 15, 20, 25. This is going to be a 30-point scenario, which is mean we have 30 points worth of units going in, and what you're doing is you're going to use the level matching the unit. So this is an elite fallen. An elite fallen now cost me 7 of my 30-point allotment, right? So I worked it out, and I'll tell you the decisions I made and kind of why going in. Again, the abomination, you won't see him. He's big and gnarly, and you know, he just didn't really work with my overall strategy here. However, when you win a scenario, what happens is you can spend the equivalent of number of points or whatever. Say your roster, you know, construction, the force for that scenario was 15 points. If you win it, then you can spend 15 points to do level ups. And you're spending, again, if I want to get a veteran Carnage, it would have cost me 3. If I wanted to get a veteran Fallen, it cost me 5. You can only go up 1 level after each scenario. You can't go from a recruit Fallen, which costs 3, all the way up to a elite Fallen, which costs 7. So you could, even if you wanted to spend the 12 points, you have to do it incrementally. And you can do that even if the Fallen wasn't, say, in the previous scenario. It's just the way it works out. So you ultimately, with 6 different characters, well, 5 different characters really, because again, the Thrall is linked to the Nethermancer. You have 10 different on your roster, and then over the course of the 4 scenarios, you're building up your units and changing what you have available to you in the final scenario. So I'm going to kind of go through the 30-point roster I have right now. I have 2 Carnages, right? And each Carnage is going to count 4 points each toward my 30 points. in a lot of the scenarios, when you're putting your units on the board, they end up on the opposite side of the board, and then you go toward the center. One of the nice things about putting this specific scenario on the channel is that we can actually put our units in a little bit, make this a little bit smaller, so we can get a little bit closer to the action, and the order units are all going to start in along this side of the board. Now, I could start some here and some down here. Strategically for me, I wanted to keep all my units together. Now, it does grouping my units when you have area of of effect attacks isn't always the smartest idea, but who said I was smart? So we have 2 carnages. Now, each of my carnages costs me 5 points each, right down to 20. Now, elite carnages, what's their deal? Well, you have all these stats here. You start with movement. They have a movement stat of 5. Now, movement in this game is not only orthogonal, it's also diagonal. It's 1 point of movement for every place that you want to move. It's really, really convenient. It's really, really cool. It's a big board. Having 5 movement that you can move diagonal, you can get around pretty fast. All right, so weapons range. The weapons range is 0, so the carnage does not do a ranged attack, right? It's why they only cost 5, even at the elite, but they still have some very, very cool things that they can do. Close combat, it says a 4 there. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to roll 4 dice. So you're going to have to roll 4 dice every time you do a closed attack. So again, the 0 equals 10, and then you'd have to see if you beat your defense value of the unit that you're attacking. Well, obviously, if you roll a 10, you're probably going to get a hit. It doesn't matter if you roll 3 successes in close combat. Only 1 hit happens for each attack that happens. All right, so we're going to do range combat. Well, 0 dice. Obviously, we're not doing range combat with the carnages. We have a defense value. The elites have a defense value of 6. A tie goes to the defending unit. So if the Erthen is attacking my carnages and they do not roll a 7 or higher, it will be considered a miss. Now, there also are ways that 6 number can get higher depending on where the carnage is standing and depending on a whole bunch of other things as far as their defense goes. But generally speaking, if there is no other number that's giving them a higher defense, the Erthen's going to need to roll a 7 or higher in order to do any damage to the carnage, right? Now, what are these 2 abilities? The carnage has 2 abilities at the elite level, 2 at the veteran. However, when it's injured and goes down to the recruit level, it loses one of its 2 abilities. Its first ability that it has at all 3 levels is Hoard Assault. So if it's ever doing a close combat attack, it rolls as 1 additional die for each one of its other ally units that are adjacent to the target. So not adjacent to it, but adjacent to the target. The second ability, which is super cool, is Bloodthirst, in that you can damage an adjacent unit, a unit adjacent to it, not necessarily to the target, in order to take 2 attacks in a row. It's a very, very powerful effect, and I will certainly be trying to set myself up to do some of that and do a little bit of damage, which is fine, especially if you get your boy Nethermancer around, who can do some really cool, healing effects, and so can the Fallen, while we're on the topic of healing. So I'm going to put these 2 out, and we'll figure out where we want to put them in our possible starting spaces. Then we have the Fallen. So we have an elite Fallen. The elite Fallen has again, it cost me 7 points toward my 30. So combined, I'm down 17 of my 30 points. And again, I can only have 6 units on the board at a time. So the whole thing I said about the Nethermancer being able to bring in new units, you're still limited to 6 units on the board at a time. So that cannot happen until one of my units dies, right? Assuming that's going to happen. Yeah, it'll probably happen. It happens. We're, this is a serious battle where we're about to take part in like, things from the center of the earth versus some plant matter. It's not a laughing matter here at all. The elite Fallen have a move value of 6. So that means they can move against 6 spaces, orthogonal and or diagonal as they go. Weapon range of 0. So they're also a close combat kind of guy. It's how they that's what they do. They're at the elite level, they're rolling 4 dice. The range combat again is 0. Defense is 6. Very, very similar stats to the carnage, but why do they cost 2 more points? Well, you're about to find out. So they have 3 abilities. 2 of them are across the board, and 1 is added for the veteran and the elite level. So the 2 that are across the board are Absorb Life. When a Fallen unit attacks any of the Erthen units, so the Nether units, and there's other units too that this works for, they can heal themselves. Notice healing is a little bit more limited than you might think, in that, say the Fallen unit already fell down to the veteran status because it got injured twice. Healing doesn't allow me to then make it back to elite. No. What it does is, if I was only injured once, healing would allow me to flip the elite back to its fully healed side, right? So there's a timing thing here that you want to try to get your heals in when you're injured, but if you get injured again before your ability to heal triggers, but then you're going to already be at that lower state. There's nothing that you can do to get back to an elite. So now you go to the veteran stats, which again is only a little bit of a drop off here for the fallen. You roll one less die and you have one less defense value. All right, so absorb life is cool. Charge is across the board. When the fallen moves, they can immediately take an attack as part of the same activation. Now that's really strong. Most characters, they have to move into range, and their next activation, then they can do an attack. The fallen basically gets 2 actions for the price of 1. And finally, we have Shadow Meld. When the fallen is standing in difficult terrain, that's any terrain that has the orange boxes, they get +2 to their defense when they are being attacked instead of just the +1, which is super nice. The Nethermancer, one of my faves. They're pretty cool. I have 2 Nethermancers coming in. We have 1 elite and 1 veteran. So the elite is going to cost me 7 of my points. The veteran is going to cost me 4. That's 11 points I'm adding to the 17 I've already accounted for. So I'm up to 28 of my points. Now, what is this elite Nethermancer all about? Well, he only has a move of 4, but this is a dude with a weapon range. Weapon range is 8, which is nuts for the elite. It's only 7 for the veteran, but still really, really, really far. Close combat's only 1, so if you have to do a close combat, 1's not that much. Ranged combat, you're rolling a 4 spot. You got 4 dice, which is really, really nice. Defense is 6. Again, only damage on a 7 or higher if there's not any other modifiers. Now, you have the Transfer Life and the Nethergate abilities. Transfer Life is across the board from Recruit to Elite. Nethergate is only for the Veteran and the Elite. Both are very strong. Transfer Life, if it's a successful attack by the Nethermancer can heal another unit within range and line of sight, which is really, really sick. Now, what blocks line of sight? This is blocking terrain. Blocking terrain blocks line of sight. This is elevated terrain. Elevated terrain also blocks line of sight. Now, that's important because the rulebook doesn't explicitly say that, but I have it on good authority that it does block line of sight. So if my Nethermancer standing here and I got a fallen here, well, I can't actually heal him because I can't see him. But even though he's within weapon range, I still need to be able to see him in order to make that healing happen, which is interesting. So you really have to tactically put yourself in place where that can work. So I talked about elevated terrain, I talked about difficult terrain. There's movement modifiers, which I'll talk about as we go. There's also the water terrain. The water terrain we'll actually talk about more when we're talking about the Erthen, because they do some things when they get into the water. Great. What's Nethergate? Nethergate is sick. This is where the thralls come in, right? So the Nethergate ability says that if the Nethermancer, as their action for a turn, injures themselves. Now, man, the Nethermancer cannot heal themselves with Transfer Life. That's an important point. So Transfer Life, if they injure someone, they can heal another of their allies within range and line of sight, but they cannot use that on another Nethermancer, including themselves. This Nethergate thing, you can't do very often because you just be killing yourself. But if you do the Nethergate thing, then you can bring a thrall into battle within range and line of sight. That's really awesome. So now you have an elite thrall. The thralls are a little bit different in that they don't have an injured side. So the first time the thrall is injured, it just becomes a veteran. The second time it's injured, it becomes a recruit. And then the recruit does have 2 sides, an injured side and a healthy side. So it's only going to take 4 hits, but it can be a game changer, right? So we'll get to them. Let's go over there right now. The thralls, again, are not going to enter battle in the beginning. They have to be only brought in through the Nethergate ability. And we have the elite and the veteran. Now, when you use the Nethergate ability, you bring in a thrall that's equal to the level of the Nethermancer who has done the Nethergate ability, and you do that before you actually, calculate the damage to the Nethermancer. Say my Nethermancer is injured, he can do the Nethergate ability, injure himself, and still bring in an elite thrall, and then he becomes a veteran. Just for the timing of that can be important. All right. So the elite and the veteran, 3 and 4 as far as movement, veteran to elite, and then close combat, 2 dice to 3 dice. So not a huge number of dice, but it's enough often to get the job done. And then defense is 5 and 6. They are mindless. It means that they have the ability to take a turn before the Nethermancer goes. And that's how the thralls are activated, right? So if we pull a token to activate the Nethermancer, before that turn happens, the thrall that was brought into play by that Nethermancer gets to take a turn, and then the Nethermancer will go. And then the last ability on the thralls is sacrifice. The thralls can do 1 damage to themselves to add 1 die to their roll. It is not something I do very often, but it can come in handy in the right circumstance. The Wraith. The Wraith is only a recruit. That measly recruit takes up my last 2 points. I did want to get 6 characters on the board, and the reason why will become clear in a little bit. But don't make a mistake, this little Wraith is pretty strong. He's got a move of 5. He's got close combat of 3 dice, which is pretty sweet, and he's got a defense of 5. But he also has 2 abilities, which I love. One is Incorporeal, and that means that after he is damaged, if I roll a die, if I roll a 6, I'm sorry, this is a 10-sided die, D10s here. So if I roll a 8, 9, or 10, I cancel that damage. And then there's Mist. The Nethermancer can move through difficult terrain, elevated terrain, water terrain, and blocking terrain without any change to their modifier. The blocking terrain is especially crazy because no one else can go through blocking terrain. I should say as a caveat, you can't end the Nethermancer's turn on blocking terrain, but you can go through it without any additional move cost. It's pretty cool. What are these tokens here, right? Well, these are the activation tokens. The activation tokens will get thrown into this little handy dandy bag, and we will pull out the tokens, and that will determine who activates when, both for the order and for the Erthen. So one thing to note with that is that for the order, we are going to get to choose which of our tokens that we want to put in the bag for every round. And the number of tokens that we could put in the bag is going to be equivalent to the number of units we have on the board. So it will never be more than 6. Could get down as low as 1. Not very good. So this token over here is a special token, and what this does is if I have a unit that dies, I get access to this token, which will allow me to pull it from the bag and activate any unit that I want. But the difference with this token is most tokens, you'll put them aside, and then 2 rounds later, you'll be able to use them again. And I did say 2 rounds later because you can't use the same token 2 turns in a row. So it does mean you need to be careful and a little bit judicious in how you do things. If I use all 3 of my fallen tokens in 1 round, I'm not going to have access to them again until 2 rounds, right? So you got to be a little bit aware of how that's going to work out. But this token, once you put it in the bag, when you pull it, it gets removed from the game until another one of your units dies. Then you would have access to it again. And there's only 1 of them. So if you have 2 units that die, tough luck, you only get that 1. So I'm going to set my guys up, and I'm going to try to do some things. I mean, this dude has Shadow Meld. We'll put him up in the defensive spot right there. We'll put our 1 Nethermancer. The elite, I think we'll put him here. And then I'll put the veteran down here. And actually, I want to give him more line of sight opportunities. Yeah, that blocking terrain is going to get in the way. We'll put him there. Why not? We'll put the 2 Carnages, 1 here. Again, these are elite Carnages, 1 here. And then we'll put my Wraith kind of up. Well, I'll put the Wraith down here. It's fine. Whatever. They're just going to move around, do some things. I'm probably not going to activate them very early. No, change my mind. I'll put the Wraith up in there. So I can do anywhere in these 2 columns of boxes from there all the way down to there. I'm not going to get too crazy with initial placement here, so I think that will be fine. And now we go over to the Erthen. Well, what are these crazy units that we're up against? In lane number 1, we have the Hellbore. And again, these are all arranged as per the instructions in this handy dandy little scenario guide here, right? So in range 1, we have the Hellbore. Hellbore can be pretty nasty. It has a move of 5, a weapon range of a 2, a close combat of a 2, ranged combat of a 2, and a defense of 6, so it needs a 7 or higher to defeat it. It has camouflage. So what does camouflage do? These are some very cool ability sheets, which are super good. I will definitely be referring to them. But what camouflage does is that the Hellbore gets a +2 defense against ranged combat when it is in difficult terrain. Normally, you get a +1 if you're in difficult terrain. Hellbore gets +2. Now, if it's standing in difficult terrain, that's pretty nasty because that 6 now goes up to an 8. So to damage it, you would need to roll a 9 or a 10. So it definitely changes the math. Without camouflage, it would go up to a 7. So you need 8, 9, or 10. Obviously, the math gets a lot better at that point. It also has earth travel, so that means it can travel through difficult terrain and elevated terrain without any additional movement cost. And then finally, it has Toxin Burst. That's where it gets you. So the Toxin Burst is a ranged attack. It is an area effect attack. So all units within 2 are going to be attacked. And a Toxin Burst will only affect one elevation. So if I have units that are on, say, this little mountain here and units that are around it, the Toxin Burst, I would choose which level of elevation the Hellbore is attacking, whether the units that are elevated or the units that are not. The cool thing about that, though, is that you do need to act in a way that's in the best interest of the AI. The game does anticipate and expect that the solo player is actually making choices that are strategically sound to whatever extent possible. Now, sometimes it's like, whatever, but usually the way I play, that means I'm attacking. If there's a character that's injured that might lose a level, I'm going to be doing what I can to try to attack those characters when there is a choice. And there's not always a choice, but when there is, right? Next to the Hellbore, we have the biggest man in town, because I am not playing with the Abomination. The Abomination is similarly sized, just for reference. But so we have the Tremor. The Tremor is elite, and the Tremor is nasty. I had a game that I was getting ready for this, that I had 4 units left, and I was up against the elite Tremor, and I lost that one. So not great. The Tremor at the elite level, he has move of 4, he has a weapon range of 2. Now his weapon range is a little bit deceiving, and we'll get to that in a second. Close combat of a 6. This dude's rolling 5 dice and then 1 more for good measure. He has a range combat of a 3. He has a defense of a 7. He is huge. What huge means is that he also doesn't need to pay any additional movement when it's going through difficult terrain or elevated terrain. But if he's going up an elevated terrain, he needs to end with all 4 squares of the Tremor being on the elevated terrain, which again isn't going to come into play in this turn. He has Stone Skin. So just like the Incorporeal for the Wraith, if you damage the Tremor, if the Tremor rolls an 8, 9, or 10, it cancels that attack, which can be gross. So if you're attacking the Tremor with the Nethermancer, trying to do this transfer life, you're attacking with the Fallen, trying to do the absorb life, well, if he cancels it, well, guess what? That little healing action that you were trying to pull off there doesn't really work. Shockwave is what's nuts. So Shockwave is a ranged combat. It affects everything within range 2. And what it does, it doesn't do damage, but it applies stun tokens. So say I had my Fallen and my Necromancer both within range 2 of a Tremor. He attacks them both successfully. We have to roll separately for each of them. Now they are both stunned. Their next activation, all they can do is remove those tokens. So it is definitely a thing to contend with. It is worth noting that as a Tremor goes from elite to veteran to recruit, at that lowest level, what's going to happen is he loses Shockwave. So if I ever get orders that involve Shockwave, we would ignore those orders and go down to the next in line, and we'll talk about that during gameplay. Next to the Tremor, in lane number 3, we have the beautiful, marvelous Iron Core. So the Iron Core is also elite, 4 movement, 6 weapon range, 4 close combat, 3 range combat, 7 defense. It has magnetic force and cat iron blast. So magnetic force is interesting. Again, only applies to the veteran and elite. Get down to the recruit, we ignore that. Magnetic force is going to take 1 unit that was within range. So it'll take 1 of my units and it's going to move it to the range of the most Erthen enemies, right? So that's a really quick way to die. The other thing is cat iron blast. So cat iron blast is a area of effect attack. You're going to have line of sight and weapon range to the target space, and then all adjacent units, including Erthen units, are going to be affected. So again, between the cat iron blast and the Toxin Burst, there's a lot of area effect attacks. So me lumping all my guys together can be pretty dangerous depending on how these early activations go for the Erthen. Next, we're going to go to the Geomancer. The Geomancer is the only Erthen unit that starts not at the elite level. It starts at the veteran level, and he's super annoying. So the veteran Geomancer has a move of 5, a weapon range of 6, close combat of 2, and he has a defense of 5. He's a little squishy, obviously, but he is a healer. He does 3 abilities. He has Earth Travels, which we already talked about. No additional modification for going through difficult terrain, etc., etc. And he has Heal. So heal, basically when he is within range, he doesn't even have to roll a die, he just heals. And it's pretty sick and he's super annoying, but it's hard to get to him early. So he will probably be sticking with us for quite a while. And he also can heal himself. So unlike the Nethermancers who can't heal themselves, the Geomancer very much can. His final ability is Alter Earth, does not apply to the recruit, but the Alter Earth ability will be, he'll be using these tokens here to add difficult terrain and water terrain, and maybe make some elevated terrain flat in the way that's in the best interest of the Erthen. And again, that's where a lot of the decision making, you're going to be like, all right, well, what would I do if I was playing for the Erthen and really wanted to try to pull off something strategic? Now you notice that there's some writing on there. In emails with David Thompson, it became clear that the Geomancer would often activate, especially early in the game, and it just wouldn't have anything to do. David himself told me to just kind of rearrange some things. So it used to be if you rolled between a 4 and a 10 that you would heal, and you would move to within the weapon range of the closest injured allies. You could heal them on your next activation. Now, instead, since there often isn't anyone to heal, it's still the same like amount of numbers that you roll. But if you roll a 10, you actually alter Earth instead. Because it used to be if you rolled a 3, you would alter Earth, and now it's a 10. So what that means is the orders go up. So if an order cannot be followed, you go to the next one on the list. So now, hey, I roll a 3 through a 9. Oh, no one can be healed. So then I would go up to a 10. It always gives the Geomancer something to do that'll be helpful for the Erthen in a way that does add up. So it makes sense, and it can, what I just said will make a lot more sense as we go. Finally, last but not least, we have the Death Vine. Now the Elite Death Vine is nasty. So he has a move of 5, a weapon range of 3, close combat of 4, and a ranged combat of 4. So lots of dice in that ranged combat with the 4 of them. He has a defense of a 6, camouflage, same effect as when we talked about with the Hellbore, just gives him extra defense if he's standing in difficult terrain. And then we have the 2 other abilities. Hydro Merge gives the Deathvine +1 defense if it's standing in water, and that's on ranged or close combat attacks. And Constrict. Constrict is like Stun, but not nearly as bad in the sense that it basically prevents the order unit who has a Constrict token on it from moving, but it does not prevent them from having an action. So if they're still engaged in close combat, they can actually still go ahead and do that combat. But before they try to move, they will have to spend one of their activations to remove that Constrict token. So hopefully all that become clear as it go. I did think it was important to kind of at least introduce these terms and introduce the ideas, and kind of you'll be able to see this play out. And hopefully we can pull off an order victory, baby. Oh, one thing I should mention. So how do you put in tokens for activating the various AI units? Well, again, since we have 5 units on the board, we will have 6 at the beginning of the next round, which we'll see. We're going to take all of their activation tokens, right? They have 3 for each unit, just like I do. So in total, we have 15 tokens here. Advanced math, people. 5 times 3 is 15. So I'm going to put all these tokens in this box, the bottom lid. And basically for me, I shuffle them around. Just moving them in there is pretty effective. It works for me. And we are going to draw a certain number of tokens. So it's still the number of units on the board, and then you could basically choose your difficulty level. I'll be playing at the difficulty level. That's a lot. Difficulty level. Let's say that 10 times fast. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the number of units on the board plus 3, and I find that's fine because there are going to be often 1 or 2 activations in a round where the Erthen don't really do all that much. So a lot of the AI is very, very smart. Some of it's just like, what are you doing, Erthen? That doesn't make any sense. So we're going to put these 15 tokens in there. I'm going to have to assign these 2 pods. Again, these are the pods that they managed to snag from the order in the previous round. I rolled that. It's a 2, so I'm going to put that on the Tremor. I'm just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, and I'll roll this. Tremor's out, so 1, 2, 3, 4 just goes on the Death Vine. We'll see what happens at the beginning of the second round. We'll choose one of those 2, and we will spawn a random unit. Again, the rules. Let me say this. All right. I'm very glad I have a line of communication with David Thompson, because I thought these rules were really not good. It's very, very ambiguous. A lot of things were not clearly defined. It was rather frustrating at times. It was worth the lift to learn it, and hopefully this helps a lot of people who are trying to learn this game. So it's one of the reasons I really went through very clearly the beginning to kind of just explain a lot and tell you people what's going on. But yeah, the rule book just leaves a lot to be desired as far as just clarity and connecting dots, and it makes some assumptions that it shouldn't, and it's just kind of not great. So that's fine. If you're someone that doesn't mind a lot of ambiguity and it's like, oh, I had fun, great. If you're like me and you're a little bit like OCD and you're like, you really want to know like what the rules are supposed to be, it can be really frustrating, especially for a newer game that doesn't have like lots of threads with like FAQs or frequently missed rules or stuff like that. You're kind of out on your own. Fortunately, again, I had, the email to the guy who knows, and he was very helpful and helped making sure that I understood everything that I needed to understand to feel comfortable to go ahead with this playthrough today. So with that one bit of rulebook bashing aside, not the by the way, not the worst rulebook I've read in the last 6 months by far. I mean, that dubious honor goes to Too Many Bones every day, all day. But it was pretty close. So Geomancer flip back down, you jerk. I don't want to see you. All right. So we're gonna roll these over or shuffle these. I don't know whatever mechanic I'm doing right there. And for the first round, we are pulling out 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there are 7 left in there. And I'm going to be able to have 6 unit activations this turn because I have 6 units on the board. I'm going to want to activate the Nethermancer, the elite one. I'll activate the 2 Carnages. I'll activate the Wraith twice. And I'll activate the regular Nethermancer as the veteran Nethermancer as well. And we'll go from there. So notice, like veteran, elite, there's still 3 tokens for the Nethermancers. It doesn't matter which one. And the way I'll know the difference is the veteran one is going to have the nuclear symbol. And I'm sure I have a hard time with that word. Nuclear. Yeah, the nuclear symbol. And the other one just has like that skull. And that's how you know which one you're supposed to activate. So you do need to pay attention to those little details when you pull tokens out of the bag. So I'm going to take the 8 Erthen tokens, and I'm going to take these 6 order tokens. I'm going to like kind of roll them around in my hand a little bit to kind of get them a little bit, separated from each other, and then just drop them in here. This bag is a little bit tiny, so it's hard. It's hard to, feel pretty confident there's like a lot of randomization when you just drop in that many tokens in this little bag. Cool. So what is going to be the first activation of the day? Let's see it. Who's it going to be? My fingers are stuck. I told you it's a tiny bag. All right, we got one. We got a Geomancer. He joins the party, and I'll just kind of arrange these down the side just so we can kind of see what's going on, and you guys can keep track of things at home. Geomancer, what are they going to do? Now, this is what the AI turn looks like. First, we need to figure out what their orders are, right? And as I said before, if an order that you roll isn't applicable, then you go to the next one. We're pretty much going to be doing 10, but I'm just going to go through the process just for thoroughness. So I rolled. It's a 5. All right, we're going to do a heal action. Move to within the weapon range of the closest injured ally and do a heal. Oh, we don't have any closest injured ally. So we go to the next one. We are going to alter Earth. Now, we're going to go to our handy-dandy AI activation reference. Ooh. All right. What is alter Earth? We're placing 2 terrain markers within weapon range and line of sight. Place water terrain on a space with a death vine, or difficult terrain on a space with a hellbore if possible. And then place clear terrain on elevated terrain if it would allow iron core line of sight to use cation blast or magnetic force. So what's our weapon range again? It's 6. We have line of sight. There's no elevated terrain that's preventing it. There's other people, but that doesn't block line of sight. It's only elevated terrain and blocking terrain that actually, does that. Now these tokens, there's not that many. There's only 9. We will probably run out of them. But again, another thing I confirmed with David Thompson is that if you run out, feel free to rearrange where they are on the board. To the point that it's most advantageous to the Erthen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That hellbore is actually out of weapon range. However, the death vine is not. So we're going to put water terrain under the death vine, and that will be most likely be moved later. And there's really, the priority doesn't really make sense anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a difficult terrain within weapon range line of sight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll just get more difficult terrain here and just make it a little bit harder for the order to kind of bust into our little sanctuary here. So that's going to go there. That is our first activation. Again, not the most exciting of starts. The the Geomancers don't do much until late, and then you just like, oh my gosh, you're the worst. Go away. What do we got? It's a Hellbore. Exciting. Hellbores need orders. That's what it needs. What do I roll? I rolled a 4. So it's going to do the objective. Use the scenario instructions. Well, I'm going to tell you now, the scenario instructions say go to the next order because there are no special instructions for this scenario. Fine. Scavenge. Move to the closest unclaimed token and pick up. Get orders. There are no unclaimed tokens. Now, if I defeated either the Tremor or the Deathbind before that thing spawned, which is virtually impossible when they're at elite level, then there would be a token on the board. It could go and pick those up. That's not going to apply here either. So what are we doing? Well, we're going to the final order again. We're doing an Assault and Toxic Burst. Now, I'm going to put this token here. These are stun tokens for a Terrify ability for the Wraith, but it only applies for the Veteran or Elite, so I don't have access to that ability. So the stun token is going to go there just to remind me in the future what I'm doing, that I already have orders for this guy. And or girl, or I don't know, plants. Do plants have gender? I don't know what's going on there. But so it says Assault and Toxic Burst. Move to the most enemies within range. Toxic Burst until defeated. And I have confirmed that is not all one activation, right? So you do have to move, and then you will not Toxic Burst. Even if you get into range, you will not Toxic Burst until you activate that unit again. Again, the weapon range for the Hellbore is tiny. It's only 2. So Hellbore is going to move 5, and elevated terrain probably makes some sense for it, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, it does have earth travel, and we'll confirm that. Earth travel, yep, move difficult, elevated in water terrain with no increase to move cost. So that dude is up close and personal and already within range of my Fallen. Dude is not messing around. All right, what's next? We got 12 tokens left in here for the first round. It's a Tremor. Guess what? Tremors need orders. We're going to do this. The Tremor rolls a 9. So 6 through 10, the order is engage, move to closest enemy, close combat until defeated. So Tremor is moving 4. It's going to go 1. It can also ignore movement things with the difficult terrain. So 2, 3, and 4. And again, closest enemy to defeat would obviously be the Fallen. So hopefully we can get our Nethermancer and Fallen healing abilities going pretty quickly here. Finally, we have our first order token. It is going to be the Wraith. Now I know I have 2 activations in there with the Wraith, and I'm going to start messing with the Hellbore a little bit because I don't really want him to do a Toxic Burst on my Fallen. So we're going to go 1, 2. Now I can move through my own allies without any additional cost, and you know that's even with mist. I mean, I can do whatever the heck I want, but can I get, what's my movement? Just 5. 1, 2. I'm wondering if I can get into there without triggering too much in the way of attack. Now, if you ever get to a point adjacent, you have to stop your movement. And if you're ever adjacent, you try to move away, normally you give basically a 1 free close combat from the opposing unit. However, the part of the mist ability of the Wraith can move away without having that happen. But I do want the Wraith to go to the Hellbore for 2 reasons. So 1, 2. So the first reason is I want to, again, be close so I can attack when I have my attack of 3 dice and my second activation for the Wraith, right? So always remember what tokens you put in that you're going to activate that turn. The second reason is now the Hellbore is engaged. So when you have a AI activation, you're going to go through this chart. If the unit is engaged, you're going to ignore whatever the previous orders are unless the orders themselves were about engagement, right? So the Tremor, it says move to closest enemy, close combat until defeated. His orders will stay in effect even after he's engaged because engagement was part of his order. In this situation, though, since he's engaged, his orders now go away, and the next time the Hellbore comes out, we're going to have to roll a die and figure out what we're doing from the engaged level. It would still probably be a Toxic Burst, but, you know, might be a withdrawal, and there might be other things that we can do. But it was nice to kind of get the Wraith there. I know I can do an attack with the Wraith, and hopefully we can start bringing that little Hellbore down to size a little bit, right? Cool. We're going to go to the next activation. What is it? It is a Carnage. So it is a Carnage. It's just the skull. It is not the nuclear Carnage. and unfortunately he's way the frick down there. So did not expect the Hellboar to be right in my face so quick. So the Carnage, if I was going to move into this difficult terrain, that would be 2 movement. So we're going to try to save that and get this Carnage a little bit more involved. But I have to be careful. What I don't want to do is get into range 2 of the Hellboar, and then all of a sudden I have another one of my units getting damaged with a Toxic Burst. So what I'm going to do is go 1, 2. We have 5 movement here. So 1, 2. Get a 2 movement to get into that difficult terrain. 3, and then 4, 5, and get up on this elevated terrain, which is cool because I wasn't going to be able to get into range on my turn anyway. So we'll have to do another activation with the Carnage next turn, and then be able to do some damage then. The Geomancer. The Geomancer is going to go. Well, still no injured allies, so we know how this is going to go. He's going to do a Alter Earth. Great, congratulations. Because again, it bumps up aside because I rolled a 3, it's heal. Well, he can't heal, so we're going to 10. We're going to do Alter Earth, and we're just going to put 2 more difficult terrains in here and just make a little bit more of a wall. So he has range 6. These are both within range, and we can make it more difficult for everybody but the Wraith to get into that part of the Erthen's I guess their domain, their little lair. All right, the Death Vine. So this is the first time we're seeing the Death Vine. We haven't seen the Iron Core yet either, but they'll get into the game. Everyone gets into the action. It's an equal opportunity game here. So the Death Vine need orders. They rolled a 10 right off the bat. Interesting. I never rolled a 10 for them before. I'm assuming that that's just an error. So I'm gonna do some real-time editing here. So a 6 through 10 is going to be an assault and constrict. So move to the closest enemy within weapon range, ranged combat, and constrict until defeated. What a jerk. So he has his orders, so we're going to put that up there as a reminder. And he is now going to move 5. Now again, his weapon range, like the Hellboar, isn't really that much to speak about, and he's moving 5. So we're going to leave the water terrain that doesn't come with him, but he's going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, he also has he doesn't have earth travel, so that actually would be 2 movement for him to get in there. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that works. Yeah, earth travel is only the Hellboar and the Geomancer. I think that makes sense because I guess the Carnage would be the closest in play. That's fine. I'm wondering if it made sense for him to go around here, but I think the Carnage is actually 1 step closer because of where he ended up going to. So, great. We will see what happens with the Death Vine. We are now going to the Nethermancer. The Nethermancer has a couple of options that I like, but I'm worried about pulling another Hellboar. And we have gone through 5 of the 8 activation tokens for the Erthen, right? But I could put out a Thrall, which would be pretty nuts. So I have line of sight there. I don't have line of sight there because that elevated terrain is blocking me, right? My range is pretty bananas, though. It's a full 7. So I don't want to put a veteran Thrall next to the Tremor. He's just going to get crushed. Ideally, I could have put someone there. I just don't have... I have the range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I just don't have the line of sight. Because the way line of sight works in this game is you're going from the middle of one square to the middle of the other square, and there's no way I could draw a line from that middle to that middle without crossing at least that corner of that elevated terrain. But I think I do it. Like, why not? What am I holding on for? I'm going to do a damage to myself. So over here, this goes to the injured side, and we're putting out our veteran Thrall. And I'm going to put him... Yeah, I'll do it here. It's a little risky again. This Toxic Burst could be pretty nasty. And if, again, 1 damage and the Thrall's back into our recruit status already. The other problem with doing that, now that I'm thinking about it, is the Hellboar. If I happen to roll a 1 or a 2, the Erthen units will not withdraw if they're adjacent to 2 units because they do not want to give 2 attacks of opportunity, so to speak, if I can use an Arkham phrase for a second. So you would be guaranteeing a Toxic Burst on the Hellboar's next activation. But I think that makes the most sense, and I can load up on Nethermancer tokens next turn, and if we can try to take this Hellboar out quick, that'd be nice. And honestly, if the Thrall is not long for this world, it's not that big of a deal. All right, the big thing is, though, if I want to use the ability to get units out of the gate, I have to keep one of these Nethermancers alive to the level of a veteran or an elite. Now that ability in this scenario, again, it's unique to this scenario. Unlike the Nethergate where you have to damage yourself to bring in a unit, that just happens where I'm just allowed to bring in a recruit unit every turn. So it's only a recruit, but it is an ability I want to make sure I still have. Iron Core, man, I thought it was a Hellbore for a second. It made me nervous. I was like, no. So finally, we're going to see the whole cast, the whole family's coming to town, kids. We got the Iron Core. They need orders. What do they roll? Well, I'm just rolling 10s like a madman. So they're going to move to the closest enemy, and they're going to do a close combat until defeated. And honestly, I do not hate that because I'd much rather see that nastiness than for them to do their Iron Core stuff. Now, as far as distance goes, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Well, they don't have earth travel. This one, 1, 2, it'd be 3, 4. Or they can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they're even if by blocking it off, it looks a little funny, but like I think they would still go for that thrall because you would have to get into that either the water or that's 2 points of movement either way. So that is going to be the closest one, even if that was a clear path. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this thrall is going to be closest. So they're moving 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one of the nice things again about those thralls, I mean, drawing some heat off of your units that are a little bit more powerful than some mindless sacrificial thing can make a big world of difference in the scenario. The Nethermancer, the other one, I mean, do I go ahead and just recruit another thrall? I mean, it's super tempting. I super don't want to do it though, because I just feel like that would be unwise based on what I'm trying to pull off in this scenario. So, I just don't want to injure again, and I don't want to get another thrall there and all of a sudden that thrall a Toxin Burst and they're all getting super injured. So I'm going to move him. He's going to move his 4, and I'm actually going to move him up onto the elevated platform as well, and I think that makes some sense. The good thing about doing that is it gives me line of sight to pretty much all my units in a way that I really like, and it will allow me to do some healing stuff and whatnot in a way that I think will be really helpful. So we're just going to put them up on some elevated terrain and see what happens. Next, we have the Death Vine activating again. Again, the Death Vine's still got its orders. It's trying to move to the closest enemy within range and constrict. I think it's going for that Carnage. Yeah, probably makes the most sense. Restricting that guy there would be pretty bad, but actually can't attack the Carnage. It can't go through elevated terrain. Sorry, if you're in like ground level, like normal terrain, you could shoot up at someone on elevated terrain if they're like on an edge, but you can't go through other elevated terrain. So we'll see what they want to do. They're moving 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They still are not within range 3. And they have opened themselves up to a pretty bad attack right there from the Necromancer. So they'll just go there because they're still going to have to do another activation. Yeah, so they don't have to move the max. Again, it'd be one thing if they would have actually been in range of the Nethermancer, but since they're not getting in the range of the Nethermancer anyway, did I do the counter? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they're not getting in range anyway. Their next activation, they're still going to move. I think it makes the most sense for them to put some blocking terrain between themselves and the Nethermancer instead of starting to get whacked right off the bat. So that's done. We're going to do 3 more activations, I think, for the round. So we have the other Carnage. This guy, I think, wants to get in the action. I mean, we're just going to be walloping on this Hellbore next round is how this is going to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 come in here, which is super cool. What's next? It is the Wraith. So there's one more token on here, which is an Erthen. We get our first attack. The Wraith are rolling 3 dice because the Hellbore Elite have a defense of 6. So the Wraith need to roll a 7 or higher. They rolled a 6, 5, 2. And that is how we... That's a great way to start the day, kids, because that's just exactly how this should go. The best thing now would be a Toxin Burst. No, it's not. It's the Tremor. So the Tremor is going to move. It's got to move into range 1, 2, 3. So it could move here for 3 to go to Nethermancer. I think it's going to try to get up to this Thrall. 1, 2, 3, 4, which I think does make the most sense. Instead of going for the Nethermancer, it can't stop there. That's too much. I mean, it came in here for 4. I mean, that's one idea for sure. I think the Nethermancer is the closest enemy. 1, because it has to move 4 there, because if it goes there, it's engaged, but then it can't stop there. So I think actually closest enemy is going to be the Nethermancer. So it's going to move down here 1, 2, 3, and it's engaged. So Nethermancer might be in trouble. So we're going to have to figure out what I want to do about that. All right, let's do some things. We are going to take these 8 tokens and we're going to put them back in the little lid of this box here. We are going to now go to round 2. The beginning of this round, we're going to actually spawn another unit right from the Tremor, right? And depending on what it does, we can decide what the heck we want to spawn or where we want to spawn it. So what unit are we going to spawn? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me get a D6. We're going to spawn. So again, this is all beginning round 2. We're spawning another Tremor. Yowza. Okay, so we're going to get a recruit Tremor. And I'm going to put the egg here to remind me so just to differentiate between the stun so I can make sure I'm doing the orders right. So this is a pod. The recruit Tremor is going to go adjacent to the existing Tremor. We will put it here. And that's pretty nasty. All right. Well, this got really interesting. I mean, I guess I still think makes the most sense. Doesn't make sense to put it there. Let's put it closest to enemies. If it does that, the Nethermancer are going to attack. The Nethermancer's got other issues. You can't do a range attack against adjacent units. However, since the Nethermancer's on elevated terrain, actually it can. So that's actually really interesting. It's interesting for a couple of reasons. So normally if you're doing a close combat attack against something that's on elevated terrain, you would get a +1 defense to the unit that's defending, because again, it's on elevated terrain, so it's harder for a close combat for an adjacent unit. However, when the Tremor is doing it, the Tremor does need the +1 because it's huge, right? So obviously, it's already up there, dude. It doesn't matter. Your elevated terrain isn't scaring it. That said, you can't attack something that's adjacent, but again, if you're on elevated terrain and the thing you're attacking is, not on elevated terrain or vice versa, then you can make that range attack. So we'll put this Tremor here to keep it safe from the Nethermancer. The Nethermancer can still attack it, but it's a little bit more defended that way. It still makes the most sense to put this thing here. Let the Iron Core come down. Yeah, we got a lot of things to worry about right now. Well, let me pick a few things. I think it's tough because I want to get the Tremor and the Hellbore. They both got in there super quick. Let me take these 2 Carnage because there's so many units adjacent to the Hellbore. That would be really helpful. I'm going to take these 2 Nethermancer tokens so I can activate that Thrall a couple of times. And I think we get the 1 Wraith and the Fallen. Yeah, we'll put the Fallen in there. Start moving him around. So we have these 6 tokens. We're going to do the extra 3 Tremor tokens need to be put in there because now there are 6 Erthen characters. So that means now there are 18 characters in this box. It also means that because there are 6 Erthen units on the board, instead of pulling 8 tokens for the Erthen activations, we'll be pulling 9. Because again, it's the number of units they have plus 3. I'm going to now put these back on the characters. I can use them again next round. Again, I did not have them available this round. I'm going to pull 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Take these 9 tokens here, these 6 here, shuffle them up a little bit, and put them down. I'm still I don't know why I was surprised anymore, but the fact that I rolled those 3 dice and didn't get that, that 1 bit of damage, man, each attack that doesn't go well can make a huge difference. Activating the Hellbore is obviously worst case scenario right now, so we'll see what's going on. Oh, it is the Tremor. So the Tremor is making a closed ranged attack, and it is attacking the Nethermancer, and it is the original elite. So he is attacking with 6 dice. The Nethermancer is a defense of a 6. It is now going to be in danger if it gets hit with a 7 or higher. So 6 dice. I rolled a 9 and a 7 and an 8. That's how you do it, Tremor. You show him. So that is 1 damage to the Nethermancer. Now, he is going to keep attacking the Nethermancer until the Nethermancer is defeated. If the Nethermancer moves away, then he will have to get new orders, is how that works, which is a little bit different than the Cat Iron Blast from the Iron Core, but, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, if the Nethermancer moves away, new orders will have to come out. But at this point, every time he activates again, he's just doing that 1 attack against the Nethermancer, which is better than him doing a Shockwave, to be quite honest, because he would Shockwave everybody right now. Oh, is the other Tremor. So the other Tremor needs orders. What's he going to do? I rolled a 2. So scenario instructions, nothing. Scavenge, nothing. Assault and Shockwave. Now he's a recruit. He doesn't have Shockwave, so we ignore that. So he's going to move to the closest enemy, and he's going to do close combat until defeated. Closest enemy for him is this Carnage down here. So he can't go there, right? Because that's elevated terrain. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh, he can't move. Wait a second. He can't move down there. Yeah, he couldn't have gone down there because he's so far from anything. We're going to do the different location because it would make no sense for him to go down there because you can't move into that area. You can't move through your opponent's units, and to have him go all the way around, that's just not very strategic. So he's going to move 4. How does he want to do this? We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. That way we get around the elevated terrain before we actually engage. So that guy is engaged with a Thrall up there. So they both have those instructions down in the final thing for the Tremor. So 7 more activations for the Erthen. This could get pretty ugly quick. We'll see how this order goes. Iron Core. The Iron Core does have a range of a 6, so it's pretty substantial. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It wouldn't reach anybody, but it does go through elevated terrain. So the Iron Core does need to move again to get up into range. It's got a movement of 4, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Still not going to be in range for its next attack. Well, that's interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. It could do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and he could get an attack. Oh, it's trying to do close combat. Oh, never mind. Yeah, never mind. I keep thinking it's doing a ranged attack. Take back what I said. That was foolish. It was just me not saying anything sensible. So it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and try to get to that Thrall as it was his original contact. I'm so used to original target, but I'm so used to doing rage attacks with the Iron Core. So this is a wee bit different. Oh, the Hellbore. I did just knock them out one by one. What's the Hellbore doing? The Hellbore is going to do whatever it's told to do by its orders. However, so this is something else I had to confirm in the rules. The rules make it seem like when you're following orders, if the lower ones are wrong for the orders, you go to the next thing. You go to the next instruction, the next order. That also is going to apply for engagement. If any engagement rule cannot be followed, you go to the next on the list. So 1 or 2 is withdraw, move to within the closest Geomancer's weapon range if injured. However, because it's adjacent to 3 enemies, it's not going to want to give all 3 of those enemies an opportunity to attack it as it withdraws. So it will not withdraw. That is kind of buried a little bit deep here in the AI activation reference. But again, if you look at the withdrawal instructions for engage, again, a character will not withdraw if injured or adjacent to 2 or more enemies. So it's not going to withdraw. It's just doing a Toxic Burst. So Toxic Burst is going to go range 2. It affects all units in that area. However, the Toxic Burst is interesting because it affects all areas, but the Toxic Burst also is ineffective against mechanical or earth characters, and obviously all the earthen characters are, guess what, they're earth characters. So it's really only going to affect all enemies. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies that are on ground level, 1 on elevated terrain, all within range 2. Again, that diagonal counts as range 2. So it's going to choose what elevation it wants to target. It's obviously going to want to target the most enemies possible. So we're going to start with the Thrall. Now it's only rolling 2 dice, or 3 dice, which still isn't a ton. It's going to need to get a 7 or higher to defeat the Thrall, or to damage the Thrall. And we're going to go top to bottom, and then we'll go against the Fallen. 7 or higher. Of course, 0 and an 8, the Thrall is injured. And again, there is no injured side on the Thrall's veteran status, so that is what happens instead. The Carnage, it's rolling 3 dice against the Carnage. It needs to roll a 7 or higher. We rolled a 7 and a 0 because, that's how I roll when I roll against myself. And now it's going to attack the Wraith. It needs a 7 or higher. It got an 8/8/3, so that's damaged. However, if I roll an 8, 9, or 10, I can cancel it. Can I cancel it? No, I rolled a 3. I don't roll big numbers when I want, only when I don't. One thing you'll notice about these terrain, the terrain has like, all the terrain has a little bit of overlap to make it look like perfect squares. It's a weird design choice. I don't know exactly what happened there, but sometimes they do shift and it can affect things like line of sight. You just want to be kind of aware of what's going on there. Now we're attacking the Fallen. The Fallen has Shadow Meld. Normally, area of effect attacks do not take into account things such as terrain boost, or normally, say if I was doing a ranged attack with a Hellbore, it would be +1 defense to the Fallen because it has to go through the Wraith. However, since an area effect attack, you ignore that. That's at the top of page 16 in the rulebook. However, you don't ignore difficult terrain if the enemy being attacked or the unit being attacked is in difficult terrain himself or themselves, herself, whatever. The Fallen itself is standing in difficult terrain, so that should be +1. However, because of Shadow Meld, the +1 becomes a +2. Again, that is the Fallen's ability. So we're getting 3 dice, need a 9 or a 10 to make this effective. And of course they rolled a 9 because the Hellbore cannot be stopped. Wow, just it'd been nice if one of those 4 attacks missed, just one. But c'est la vie, give me another Hellbore just to make things fun. No, it's a Wraith. Cool, the Wraith is attacking the Hellbore. We need a 7 or higher. Hey, we got 1, we got a 9. So the Hellbore is injured. We're going to flip this over. Hopefully we can take this guy down to size before the Geomancer gets activated and starts coming over here and ruining our party. So thank you, Wraith, for doing something well. Next, we're going to have the Tremor. The Tremor is attacking the Nethermancer. So that is his target. That's what he's doing. He needs a 7 or higher. He rolls a 7 and a 9. We don't need to roll that last die. The Necromancer is now going from an elite down to a veteran. It's a bloodbath. All right, but we've already gone through 5 of their activations, so there is reason to hope, kids. Reason to hope. We're going to go there. The Fallen are saying, I've had enough of this garbage, and we're going to do something about it. All right, Fallen, what are you going to do? Well, the Fallen is going to go 1, 2, and enter the fray, and it has charge ability. It's elite, so it is attacking with 4 dice, and it only needs, again, a 7 or higher to do a damage to the Hellbore. Come on, make it happen. All right, there's a 9. Whoa, 6, 5, 2 otherwise. It does 1 damage, and remember, it absorbs life. That is an earth creature. Absorb life triggers, and the Fallen heals itself back to full strength. He's like, you know what? You overrid my Shadow Meld, but I am still going to absorb life from you, you nether creature. That is how that is going to work, and it makes me happy. All right, thank you, Fallen. Welcome to the fray. Let's see what else we got. A Carnage would be amazing right now. It is a Carnage. Watch this. Watch and learn, kids. We are going to injure the Thrall with Bloodthirst. That's right. Sorry, Recruit Thrall. You have been kind of useless anyway. Now, the Carnage gets to make 2 attacks. In addition, it rolls 1 additional die for each unit adjacent to the attacked unit. So, the Elite Carnage is rolling 7 dice. It needs a 7 or higher, and it gets to roll with 2 attacks because of Bloodthirst. That is the way this is supposed to go. All right, 1 damage to the Hellbore, and we get a 2nd attack because Bloodthirst is amazing. And, 009, don't show off. That's amazing. Now, Bloodthirst, you can make those attacks against the same target or 2 different targets. And Hellbore is getting a little bit weak. He's down to a mere recruit status level. So, again, it's only rolling 2 dice instead. It doesn't have Earth travel anymore. And, it's probably not going to be very long for this world. And that's fine. And I might actually just kill off this Thrall, because this Thrall has been pretty useless. Oh, the Nethermancer. So what's the Nethermancer going to do? Well, the Thrall can attack. The Thrall can attack any adjacent unit. It doesn't have sacrifice anymore because it's a recruit, but it's still pretty mindless. So mindless is going to trigger. It gets an attack. You can only roll 2 dice. Now attacking the Tremor would need a 7 or higher. And attacking the Hellbore at its, I was saying 7 or higher, only a 6 or higher. Again, we were attacking a veteran, not an elite. So we only need a 5 or a higher now. I think with only 2 dice, we just try to make sure we're killing this Hellbore off, and then we'll worry about how we're going to, I still got the Carnage again. Yeah, if I kill the thrall with the bloodthirst thing, which isn't the craziest idea I've had, it might make some sense to then go ahead and just kill the hellbore with the carnage and see if I can't damage that recruit Tremor, because he's a little bit nasty. What can this Nethermancer do for me, though? I don't think he can attack anybody. Oh, he can attack that hellbore too. No, that's still elevated terrain. Is it? Yeah, if you go to the center, it's still elevated terrain. There's really nowhere. This should be off the board. Sorry about that. There's really no one that this Nethermancer can attack where he is. So I'm probably going to move him over with his move of 4. Get him into range where he can start doing the transfer life abilities. Let's do this. I'm going to attack the Tremor with this Thrall. And again, it's 2 dice. We need a 7 or higher. Yoink, I got a 0. So that will be successful. Now, Stone Skin, 8, 9, or 10. It's canceled. It is not canceled. So that Tremor has taken a wee bit of damage. There's a crack in the armor. All right, what do we get next? It is the Death Vine. So the Death Vine member is here. The Death Vine already has orders. The Death Vine is supposed to assault and constrict the closest enemy within range. Oh, I did not take any of those Carnage tokens. Yikes. Well, the closest enemy within range, I think, is actually the Nethermancer anyway. So 1, 2. So it moved within range. Yeah, it moved to the closest enemy until within range. It's there. And then this next thing, it will attack and try to constrict that Nethermancer. That Nethermancer is probably not long for this world, which is not how I thought this was going to go when I started it. But we'll see. Hopefully I can keep this dude alive, and we'll still have this ability to bring in new recruits through the gate as we go. But we'll see. The Geomancer. The Geomancer needs instructions. Yes, he does. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to move to the closest unit and heal. Now, one interesting thing about the Geomancer has other orders, which really won't happen in this scenario. But if he had other orders and then he wound up in range of an injured enemy, then he would go ahead and heal that enemy and get new orders. Anyway, so he's going to move 5, and he's going to try to get to this Tremor. Again, his range is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Geomancer is going to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Night 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, not even within range of the Tremor yet. So we are going to have a chance to kill this Tremor before the Geomancer can heal it, which will make me very happy. What is this? Oh, the Geomancer goes again. So he's going to move to within weapon range. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can actually just go there. And he could do earth travel, so he can get in difficult terrain to make things a little bit better for him if he were to be attacked. So we'll see what this is. I still have 2 more activations in here, so I feel fairly good about that. Oh, the Tremor gets... How does he get a turn? It's so stupid. Oh, wait. I attacked with the Thrall. I never moved the Nethermancer. So 1, 2, 3. That gives me range to attack the Hellbore. And that's kind of all I want to do. That's fine. So that was on the Nethermancer's turn. This Tremor is attacking. Who's the Tremor attacking? Well, obviously he's attacking the Thrall. That was his closest enemy. He's only a recruit, so he only has 4 dice, but he only needs a 5 or higher to kill the Thrall. Yikes, the Thrall is out of commission. Bye-bye, Thrall. Maybe the only one we see today, but we'll see how this goes down. Now, he finished his orders, so he's going to need new orders on his next turn. And I'm going to figure out how the heck I want to kill that Tremor. That's going to be a thing I'm going to need to figure out how to do. All right, the Nethermancer. Well, I'll have a shot. It's not going to be a huge shot, but it's going to be a shot. I don't have the Thrall anymore, so the order that those came out is a little bit unfortunate. I am going to take a shot at the Tremor. So the Tremor, again, only has a recruit status of defense of 6. Because I'm firing through difficult terrain, it's going to be a defense of 7. And because I'm going through another unit, my own or an enemy's unit, is going to become a defense of 8. You can do line of sight and all that stuff from any one of those 4 squares. If I go from that square, it's still going to cut off, unfortunately, that edge with the Carnage. And it goes through that square with the difficult terrain. So I'm going to need a 9 or a 10, but I'm rolling 3 dice, so I think this is worth it. Or do I, oh, man, or I just go for the Hellbore. That might be smarter. That might be smarter. I'm not going to have a lot of great opportunities to get that Tremor. I think this is because he's going to get healed. If I try to wait the next turn and try to get tricky with this, he's going to get healed, and that's not great. So I am going to try to kill the Nethermancer. Again, Nethermancer is only 3 dice in ranged combat. And if we need a 9 or higher. No! I missed. You jerk. So I don't get the transfer life. I missed my opportunity to kill that Tremor. Again, the Thrall getting killed like that was a wee bit unfortunate. And now we have the Carnage. The Carnage is going to injure the Fallen because he can. Yeah, because this guy's still attacking the Nethermancer. It's going 2 attacks. It's rolling 4 dice. I just need a 5 or higher, but I really want to make sure we kill this Hellbore. So, yeah, we'll get another recruit over here, but we don't know what it's going to be yet. So, yep, that's 1. I rolled a 0 and a 9, and that's 2. I rolled a 9 and a 6. The Hellbore is out. So, bye, Hellbore. Nice knowing you. That's that. We have to go to the next round. We're going to take these 9 tokens. I got to get the Hellbore tokens out of there, don't I? So the Hellbore had 1 activation token here. I got to find the other 2. There's 1. And the other one, there's a second. So that was quicker than it might have been, which is good. So they're out. And we're going to take these remaining tokens for the Erthen and put them in the box. What's in the box? I want to do all the Necromancer actions I can. So we get 4 of those. I want to heal up a bunch of things. And I want all the Fallen actions I can. So we're going to take these 6 tokens, which I think makes a lot of sense. We'll put these back. Carnage, Nethermancer, Carnage, Fallen, and Wraith. And at the beginning of this round, we're going to get this last pot off because, again, there's only 5 Erthen units left on the board. So the first, again, they started with 5. They got up to 6. We just killed 1, so now they're back to 5. So they're going to go back up to 6. We're going to roll a d6. What do we get? I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be an Iron Core. Oh, how nasty. That was not what I wanted to see. Okay, so the Iron Core, recruit level Iron Core is going to go right there. Because what's his range? Recruit level range is pretty wide. It's 5. Yeah, we'll go there so it has line of sight to that target space because it's going to need it. Well, if it goes here, it's going to give it a lot of options in that side of the world too. Shoot, yeah, we'll put it closest to the action, give it max options. So no more pods for the Erthen though, but I'm going to put this here to remind me that sucker needs orders. I'm adding these 3 tokens. So we're back to 18 tokens in here. And once again, we'll be pulling 9. All right, shuffle them around. It's like Plinko. Plinko, where do we land, kids? We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yoink. All right, picking these and these, shuffling these up. I think my strategy kind of fell apart a little bit, but hopefully we get some Nethermancers, we do some transfer life actions, we call it a day, and hopefully this Geomancer doesn't heal this recruit Tremor, because that'd be super annoying. Yoink. Fallen. I'd love to take this attack from the Tremor and to go kill this dude with the charge ability, but the problem with that, obviously, is that I would potentially lose my elite status before I did that, and I would lose my elite status before the transfer life worked its way out. So what I'm going to do is we're attacking the elite Tremor. We're attacking with a attack of 4 dice. Yes. And the Tremor has a defense of a 7, so I need an 8, 9, or 10. Yoink. I rolled 1, 0, so that will do. And then the Stone Skin applies, and all the 7, not an 8, so he is injured. Absorb life, because that is an Earth character, and that makes me very happy. All right, what is next? We're gonna get hopefully a Nethermancer. No, stupid Tremor. So that Tremor is attacking the Nethermancer because again, that's his target. That's who he's going after. So he's rolling 6 dice. He needs a 5 or higher. Elevation doesn't matter because the Tremor is a huge character. Yoink. Whoa. So 3, 3, 3, 2, 2. It needs a 6. I'm sorry, it needs a 6 or higher. So we need to roll 1 more die because of that 6. It rolled a 4. Oh my god. That's like rolling me. All right, stop. Make it stop. Wow, that was ridiculous. I will never complain about rolling again this playthrough. Actually, that's not true. Give me like 5 minutes. I'm sure I will. But that was fun. All right, the Geomancer, shoot. The Geomancer healed. And that was his target to heal. Again, he'll interrupt his next order to heal this guy. 1, 2, 3. Because that, you can have line of sight through a corner. That line of sight is legit. Because if you go to this, he actually doesn't have line of sight here. He might, no, he doesn't, because it goes through that blocking terrain corner. But he does have line of sight to this one. It goes right through. So he will be able to heal that Tremor. The next turn, remember, he will interrupt his orders to do that. So that's a thing. Stupid Geomancer. Geomancers are the worst. All right, what is next? Give me, nope, that's a thing. So the Death Vine, again, was going after the Nethermancer. Again, with a range attack of a 3, it is rolling 4 dice. It's attacking the Nethermancer. Nethermancer, again, a 6 or higher. Yoink, there's a 6 and a 10. That's more like it. And it was attack and constrict until defeated. So everyone's trying to kill the Nethermancer until it is defeated. We'll put a constrict token on top of that guy. Don't move. All right, we're gonna go again. What do we get? It's the Iron Core. It is the new Iron Core. New Iron Core needs instructions. What are we gonna do? His orders are gonna be scavenged. Well, that's not gonna make any sense. We go up, assault and cat iron blast. Move to most enemies within range and attack. Now, you figure out the target squares, need range and line of sight, and then you attack units there, but it has to be the same elevation. And if I were to attack the Fallen, we would do some damage to the Tremor, so that'd be a little bit silly. As far as tiebreakers go, well, I mean, ultimately, you can attack the most enemies. You can attack these 3, I think, if it has line of sight to the Wraith. It does have line of sight to the Wraith. That can be a legitimate target square. And the reason why is that it goes over that corner, and that corner doesn't block line of sight. So you go from the middle of there to the middle of there. That's absolutely legitimate. If this guy was down here, you had to go through the elevator terrain, it wouldn't, but because it goes to the corner without actually going through that square, you can attack all 3 of these dudes. And that's bad. So what are we doing? It's only rolling 2 dice though, because it's only a recruit. It's a mere recruit. So the target space, it's attacking the Wraith first with 2 dice. It needs a 6 or higher to injure the Wraith. It's an area of effect attacks. It only takes into account difficult terrain if the enemy itself is standing in difficult terrain. And again, normal range attacks, you will also take into account if there are units it goes through, but again, area of effect attacks, you don't. So it's attacking 2 dice, needs a 6 or higher to hit the Wraith. It hits a 6. The Wraith, 8, 9, or 10 to cancel. No, the Wraith is gone. They did not put any Wraith tokens in there. So we're going to put this Wraith off to the side, and then we'll figure out what we want to do about that next turn. Now, that was a target space. We now have to worry about that guy and that guy both getting attacked. We're attacking the Carnage. It's an elite Carnage, so we need a 7 or higher with 2 dice. Of course we get there. Of course we get there. And then the Fallen, we need a 7 or higher with 2 dice. How? How does it do all 3? Yoink. All right, a light little cat iron recruit. Now it's going to keep attacking these 3 units until, well, now these 2 units until they're dead, and that's going to be its orders until it happens. If I move out of range, then it would actually go ahead and start attacking other units, so we're probably not going to want to do that. We'll probably try to get, the Carnage or the Fallen over there to take care of that jerk. Oh, the Death. Man, I am pulling good. So we are doing an attack where, I don't think it mattered. I'm pretty sure, but because this is not an area of effect attack, because I was going through the Iron Core in the first activation of the Death Vine, there actually is +1 defense for the Nethermancer here, but that's fine. So it's actually a 5. It becomes a 6 because this attack's going over the Iron Core. So we need a 7 or higher to hurt the veteran Nethermancer, and we are rolling 4 dice with this range attack, 7 or higher of the 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 4, 8. I got hopeful for a second, so I'm still constricted, and now the Nethermancer is down to only its recruit status. Not looking great for Team Order, not gonna lie. What's going on? We're gonna get the next token. Oh man, I keep pulling out. I keep pulling out Erthen tokens, man. It's nuts. Oh, did he miss? I think he missed. 5, 6 because of the Iron Core. So 2, 3, 2, 6, miss. You missed, Death Vine. What are you going to do now with all 3 of your activation tokens out of the bag? That's right. You're going to stand there and look like an idiot. Oh my gosh. All right. The Iron Core is still moving to the closest enemy and going to CC until defeated. If you're in elevated terrain and you move to another piece of elevated terrain, it's only 1 movement because, again, obviously you're not changing elevation. If you move off elevated terrain, it's 2 movement. If you move off elevated terrain into difficult terrain, it's still only 2 movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's the only enemy he could reach, because that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. So he's going to start attacking that Carnage. And again, it doesn't go to engage status over there, because that literally was his instruction, to engage that dude, and he's going to keep attacking him until it's defeated. Holy cow! I got an order. I got a Nethermancer. Great. Wow. I guess we have 2 Nethermancer orders, and honestly, that recruit Iron Core is nasty. But I also don't love that Tremor. So he can, even though it's adjacent, he can still attack this Tremor because they're on different elevations. So that's a thing. I really, really want to be able to transfer life, though, because I really want to heal the Fallen back to full health. Salvage one good thing here. If I attack the Elite Tremor, I would need an 8 or higher with 3 dice. If I attack the Recruit Iron Core, I need a 6 or higher with 3 dice. And I get to heal. I think taking out that Iron Core makes a lot of sense. I have another Fallen activation token in there too, so I think that'll be fine too. Lower the Tremor. What if the Geomancer heals the Tremor? Oh, that's what I don't want. Man, all right, we're attacking the Tremor. I need a 8 or higher, 3 dice. Oh, I freaking missed. That's awesome. So great. Oh man, this is not going well. All right, the Tremor is now attacking. He's attacking the Nethermancer. He's like, he's not going to miss this time. That would be absurd. Of course he doesn't. So stupid. Ugh. Come on. Do not kill the Nethermancer before he can heal someone. All right, the Fallen. Well, I guess the Fallen can heal himself now. So the Fallen's doing 4 dice against the Tremor. We need an 8 or higher. Hey, we got 1 8. Good. Will Stone Skin apply? It does not. So that's been fortunate. And since we did do damage to the Tremor, we do get to absorb life. Now, if damage is ever canceled, either for absorb life or transfer life purposes, if damage is ever canceled, you don't get to do those abilities, right? So it's like, hey, I'm going to absorb life, but then the Stone Skin applies. It's like, I didn't absorb anything. He canceled my attack. What a jerk. That's how that's going to go. Great. Let's keep going. We have already pulled 8 of their activations, so this is like a trend. The Nethermancer is going to get to go again before he exits stage left here, and I think we still go after the Tremor. The Tremor is now still an 8, or even at a veteran status, it's still an 8 or higher that's needed. There's no one to heal, so I'm not as worried about that, and I just feel like we're due Nethermancer. Roll an 8 or higher. Oh, 2 2 2. Well, I wasn't gonna hit the Iron Core with 2 2 2 anyway. Wow, Nethermancer again, right? These are all the right Nethermancer, right? I put like, because this Nethermancer is still, I still have 1 activation token from that Nethermancer. Come on, 8 or higher. 9. All right, is it canceled? Don't cancel it. Yes, cool. That will work. So we're gonna injure this jerk. No one to heal, so transfer life doesn't work. And finally, we have 2 more in here. It is the other Nethermancer. So that guy's rolling 3 dice. I can attack that Tremor. Because again, it doesn't go through the elevated terrain, but it does go through one of my guys. But it doesn't go through difficult terrain. Because difficult terrain doesn't, even though it's like I'm on difficult terrain, it doesn't count if I'm standing there for the purpose of adding defense. But since my guy's there, that would be a 9 up into that corner. That is my line of sight corner. So, and what I mean by a 9, so 7, I would need an 8 or higher. Because it's going through the Fallen, this range attack now becomes an 8 as far as defense purposes. So I need a 9 or higher with 2 dice. I'm feeling pretty frisky. Man. Getting that down to a recruit would be huge. Yes, don't cancel it. Don't cancel it, Stone Skin. Right, that's a 6, not a 9. That's what I need. Yoink. That is great. So we have down to 2 recruit Tremors, and I'm feeling a little bit better about where life is at right now. I was feeling a little worried about 5 minutes ago. Yoink. Iron Core. Well, this guy is about to put a world of hurt on my Carnage and my Fallen. That's a target space. So he's attacking those 2 spaces. We're rolling just 2 dice, but it's all I needed last time. Just 2 dice against the veteran Carnage. He needs a 6 or higher. He gets a 6 and a 0. He needs a 7 or higher against the Fallen, the Elite Fallen. He gets a 0 and a 5. So those 10s are coming in big. That little Iron Core that could is crushing me right now. So we didn't limit the number of activation tokens that the Erthen is going to pull, but we have done a lot to weaken the 2 Tremors, and that's huge as far as things go. Shockwave is now off the table. Shockwave can be really, really brutal in this game, so it's nice that we don't have to worry about that. So we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not yet. When all your guys get stunned and now you're like, oh, I can't do anything for a whole round. It's not great. I'm going to shuffle, whatever. I'm going to move these around in a box. Someone needs to come up with a name of what the heck that means. And then we are going to pick our 6 activation tokens. Definitely grabbing the Fallen. Definitely grabbing these 3 Carnages. Do I want to move the Carnage? I might want to move the Carnage. I'll get these 2 Nethermancers. Oh, by the way, so the beginning of the second round, I have a veteran Nethermancer adjacent to him. Now, if he gets injured again, I'm in trouble. But I have a veteran Nethermancer. I'm going to put a recruit Fallen in play there. So it can go in any one of those 3 spots over there. And again, we go back to the scenario book. And they're like, that's not fair. Well, they brought in 2, Earthen eggs. So whatever. They're just deal with it. Oh, and because my Wraith died. My Wraith died? Who died? Yeah, my Wraith died. I do get access to this token as well. Which, let me put that instead of, no. Let me put that in place instead of one of the Nethermancers. No, that's a healer. Yeah, I'll put that in place instead of one of the Nethermancers. So I'm going to take those 6 tokens. And again, when I pull that, it just comes out of the game. All right, so these 2 Fallens can come back. These 3 Nethermancers, I'm pretty sure that I won't be seeing more of him. He seems like he's not long for this world. And we're going to take 9 out of here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we're going to take these and these, shuffling them up, and putting them in here. All right, let's get one out. Don't make my Fallen go from elite. Yes, we have a Carnage. Well, Carnage is going to attack the Iron Core. We need an 8 or better. Fine. I mean, this Carnage is just chilling like a villain. But yeah, 8 or better. Do I want to I don't want to damage the Fallen. If the Fallen was healed, I would consider. I mean, the Iron Core just continuing to roll like, the little engine that could and just crushing me has been really, really sad. So I'm going to roll for the veteran Carnage. We're rolling 3 dice against the Iron Core. We need an 8 or higher to damage it. Oh, he's totally within. Oh, he's not within line of sight of the Geomancer. So that is nice. Now, if we altered Earth, we can make those flat so the Geomancer gets line of sight, which is pretty sick. So we're going to roll 3 dice. Give me an 8 or better. Yes, 5, 5, 10. Iron Core gets 1 piece of damage. Don't hate that. What are we getting now? It is the Geomancer. So the Geomancer, there's no allies within range to heal. We're going to give it new instructions. Well, what does it do? Well, heal someone. All right, so it's trying to get within range of this guy to heal. So it's not altering Earth because it rolled a 5. And it needs to get up here to do that. Well, it's actually going to get over here. What is it? What's its movement? 5. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now it's in range of line of sight. Remember, it has Earth travel, so it can move up on the elevated terrain without a problem, which is unfortunate. What do we get? Oh, this rookie freaking Iron Core. I hate this. All right, 2 dice. It's got to get above a 6 for the Carnage, 6 or higher. It misses. Finally, it rolls a 1 and a 3. It needs a 7 or higher for the Fallen. If it missed, I really wish it would miss on this guy first. Oh, it doesn't. So my elite Fallen is now a veteran. Oh, how the mighty Fallen have fallen. I couldn't help myself. Sorry. All right. The Tremor is going to do away with the Nethermancer once and for all. It is rolling 4 dice because it is only recruit stats now. And is attacking, again, the Nethermancer. That was its target. So what are we doing? Yoink. It rolled a 7 and a 0. Bye-bye, Nethermancer. We will figure out what we are doing with you later. We will make the funeral arrangements, and it will be very sad. I'm going to get these off the board because they are just confusing. All right, so that's done. Now, he defeated that enemy, And that was the closest enemy. So now he will be in engaged status next turn because he still has the Fallen adjacent to him. All right, so his next activation, we'll have to roll and figure out what he's doing against the Fallen. Do not be a Geomancer. It's the Fallen. All right, the Fallen are going to make an attack. We're only rolling 3 dice now because I just got knocked down a peg. And unfortunately, if again, the order that matters, right? If the Iron Core had come out after, I could have absorbed life and healed, and it would have just been a much better situation. But wasn't meant to be. So we're doing an attack against the Tremor. We need rolling 3 dice. I need a 7 or higher because of the Stone Skin. I rolled a 9, 8, 9, or 10 cancels. Oh, well, I wouldn't have been able to do absorb life anyway because Stone Skin is the freaking worst. I mean, it's the first time it hit, so we're due. Well, shoot. So that's the token that comes out. Now I had someone die this round, but this hadn't come out yet, so I don't get that back. But I'm going to do the Carnage because I do want to knock that Iron Core down to size before the Geomancer goes ahead and heals it. So the Carnage is a veteran. It's rolling 3 dice against the Iron Core. We need a 7 or an 8 or higher because the sucker's elite. Is it elite? Yikes. 8 or higher because he's elite. I'm tempted to injure the Fallen to get 2 shots of this. So I really don't want that Iron Core to heal. I really don't. I really don't. But then I'm gambling. I mean, there's still more 6 activations in here. If that Fallen becomes a recruit, like that's just so bad. I'm doing it, whatever. So we're going to injure the Fallen. We get 2 attacks with the Carnage. So we need an 8 or higher. I did hit it. Nice. And then we get another attack. So if this misses, I'll feel really silly. I did miss on the second one, but I could have easily missed on the first one. And I think getting that Iron Core down to a veteran status was important. And hopefully the Fallen can heal themselves up. So what are we doing? What's next? Yoink. The recruit Tremor that came in during the game, he needs orders. His orders are 8. So he's going to move to the closest enemy and he's going to do a close combat until defeated. He moves down to the Carnage. Okay, what is next? Be the Fallen. The Carnage. Yowza. Well, this isn't great. And the reason why it's not great is because the Geomancer is in just absolute range of both of those guys. If I would draw both the Iron Core and the Tremor will make a attack against me as I leave. You can do that. Again, the AI never does that if it's engaged with 2, but you absolutely can. Well, I guess I have 1 more Carnage token in there. So I guess I can try to kill the Tremor. I mean, again, the Geomancer is going to interrupt orders to always heal. So you're kind of in this race to try to get things done. The Tremors is the one I'm just the most worried about in a way, because they're just really annoying. The Stone Skin can keep coming back and biting you. It's also my best chance to get us down to only 5 Erthen units on the board, which would mean only 8 activation tokens instead of 9, which can make a huge difference. So again, it's a veteran. It's rolling 3 dice. Hoard Assault doesn't trigger because again, I'm adjacent to the Fallen, but the Fallen's not adjacent to the Tremor. So I need a 7 or higher because it's a recruit. Oh, 3, 3, 5. That is not the thing of dreams. So, but again, we would have had to succeed, and then we would have had the Tremor not to have Stone Skin, and then the Geomancer would have had to not heal. So, yikes. All right, this stupid Iron Core just keeps coming out. So it's rolling against the veteran Carnage. It needs a 6 or higher with 2 dice. It rolls a 7 because of course it does. So that's down to a recruit. It needs a 6 or higher because the Fallen. It misses. Thank you. Thank you for being a reasonable person once in your life. You stupid little Iron Core. Maybe he's smart. I don't know. Whatever. He annoys me. Yoink. Nethermancer. The Nethermancer, you attack that Iron Core. It's going through the Carnage. And you attack the Tremor. It's just going through the difficult terrain. I do really want to heal that Fallen. So I think whatever the best math. I mean, I would need it's a veteran, 7, 8 because of the Carnage. I would need a 6. I need a 7, 8 because of the difficult terrain that I'm shooting through. Either way, doesn't matter. All right, let's go against the Tremor. Hope Stone Skin doesn't trigger, and then I could heal up the Fallen, which would be really, really nice. So give me an 8 or higher. Again, it's a recruit, so it's a 6 defense, 7 or higher. But again, I'm shooting through a difficult terrain spot. So because it's 8 or higher. Now, if the Tremor was standing in difficult terrain, that doesn't stack. It's just once if there's any difficult terrain that you're shooting through. So 8 or higher, please. I rolled a 9. 8, 9, or 10 cancels. Oh my god! That's huge because the transfer of life doesn't trigger now. Like, that's really, really bad. That's really, really bad. All right, we're going to do engage instructions. This Tremor is not injured, so if I roll a 1, it will withdraw. It can't shockwave because it's only a recruit. Close combat, weakest enemy. Weakest enemy goes in order. Injured enemies are weaker, no matter what their level. Then you go by level of unit, and then you go by defense is the tiebreaker. So we're rolling 4 dice. 7. Oh man, did you see that transfer life? Like, just rolling that stone scan is so nasty. But anyway, we need a 6 or a higher. Yeah, there you go. 0, 7, and 9. So that injures my fallen, who is now down to a lowly recruit status. And God, that makes me so freaking mad. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, the only elite I have left is this Carnage over here, which is super nasty. All right, the Tremor, again, he engaged. So again, he's still following out his orders. He's attacking the Carnage. He's rolling 4 dice. The Carnage only has a defense of 4, so 5 or higher. It's injured. Absolutely. Man, and the crazy thing too is I injured the Fallen to get that second attack, and the second attack ended up being useless, and I haven't pulled any Geomancers. I mean, it's so stupid. Oh, the Iron Core. 5 or higher. Hey, I missed! Can you miss against the Fallen just one time, please? 6 or higher. Nope, it doesn't. It hits the Fallen every time. That's a thing. And here we go. Geomancer. Well, Geomancer would have healed, but, you know. And Carnage. So the Carnage is still around, so we get one more turn out of him. You know, fortunately, the Iron Core did miss him that last time, because it would have been really bad to lose that activation. Oh, he's only rolling 2 dice. I think we keep going after the Tremor, though. I mean, this is where you get the recruit Carnages, and it's like, yeah, you're not very strong, are you? Recruit Carnage. We're recruit 2 dice. We need a 7 or higher against the Tremor. I rolled an 8. 8, 9, or 10 cancels. It didn't cancel this time, so that's a small miracle. And hopefully we can kill it. I don't know with what, though. I have no more things in here. With nothing. No one died. Right, someone died, but I pulled this out after they died, so we don't get that. We're going to put these 9 tokens. We did not manage to defeat any of the Tremors. My best bet next turn is going to be to get that new Fallen out there. All right, these go back in here. Beginning of the round, I'm going to recruit a Wraith in there, because I still have a veteran Nethermancer right there. We're going to bring these back. Carnage, Carnage, Carnage. Fallen. I mean, I'm hesitant to use the Fallen tokens, right? Because dude is dead. These 3 I should have brought in because I have that guy and I have the Wraith now. So I'm going to grab those 3. Oh, wait. Shoot. Carnage, Carnage, Carnage. Fallen Nethermancer. Before I do that, I need to pick my 6 tokens. I'm going to do 2 Nethermancers. Nope, this is wrong. Yeah, Carnage, Carnage, Carnage. That's how that went. So I have these 2 Nethermancers, these 3 Fallen, and the Wraith. I'll get him involved in the action somehow. And again, I'm poking 6 again because I have 6 units. Now 4 of them are recruit status. But as long as I can keep popping at recruits, we still got a chance. Although the Elite Deathmind is looking pretty gnarly. So we'll see how this goes. But Fallens are huge. Fallens are definitely huge. All right, taking these 6. You get 9 out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Oh, just Geomancer healing that Tremor would be so nasty. All right, they're all in. So we're going to pull one out. What do we get? Don't be a Geomancer. Anything but a Geomancer. I mean, not anything. We'll see. Oh, stupid Tremor. So the Tremor, again, he's engaged. He rolls again. And he could still withdraw. 1 would be beautiful. Nope, it's a 0. He is attacking the Fallen. He's attacking with 4 dice. And the Fallen is fallen all the way down. So we get access to this again for next round, which is nice. But the Fallen is dead. So it's a good thing I did not put any of his tokens in there. And he is no longer engaged, so he will need new orders next turn. Not a Geomancer! No Geomancer! Man. Deathvine. The Deathvine, I think, needs orders. Yeah, because it was attacking the Nethermancer, who is now dead. So the Deathvine needs new orders. It's a 2 objective. Nope. Scavenge. Nope. So it is assaulting and constricting. So we're going to the bottom anyway. It cannot attack this Carnage because it can't go through elevated terrain. So it's got to move to a place where it can. And it can attack. No, it can't attack from there. So it goes, what's this movement? 5. Close enemy within range. Its weapon range is only 3. So I think it wants to attack this Carnage. So 1, 2, 3. Puts it in range to do some damage to the Carnage. It's going to do Carnage to the Carnage. Oh, man. Now I'm tempted to move the Fallen down there. As long as the Nethermancer doesn't get jacked up, I can do some things. And it could attack the Nethermancer from there. His weapon range is 3. But this is the closest. So he's still going to attack the Carnage. What's next? Oh, it's a freaking Iron Core. So the Iron Core is trying to kill the Carnage now. This Carnage. He's rolling 2 dice. It needs a... What is it? A 5 or higher. Yep, that will do. So we lost 2 units this turn. I can only recruit 1 next turn. So I'm only going to have 5 activations. I mean, we did 3 in a row, man. Hey, the new Fallen. Can we kill this Tremor? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're doing a charge here. We're attacking with 3 dice. Again, we need a 7 or higher. I rolled an 8. 8, 9, or 10 cancels it. Oh my god! Wow. It's more than stone skin. That skin is made of diamonds. It's just like amazing. Hey, let's try again. 3 dice, need a 7 or higher. I think I did an 8 or higher last time, but I need a 7 or higher because it's only a 6. Oh, I missed. Oh, it's so 6, 6, 2. I absolutely missed. It's so bad, dude. It's so bad. What do we get? It's a Wraith. I think the Wraith needs to interrupt this Deathvine. I cannot have this Deathvine just absolutely whacking on this Carnage. So I think 1, 2, 3. No, I don't want that to be. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll do that. Now the Deathvine's orders are dead. It's going to need new orders next turn. Iron Core. It gets new orders this turn. It's a 3. And that is the recruit Iron Core. The one that's been absolutely crushing me. So scavenge, no. Assault and cat iron blast. Most enemies within range. So the most in range is going to be this Carnage. It can attack, well, if attacked, yeah, it can attack that space and can affect that unit. That's fine. It does have line of sight to that space. So it is attacking the Carnage. The Carnage is still elite, so it needs a 7 or higher in order to pull this one off. Come on, only 2 dice. God, why are you so good? So good. It's amazing. What's up next? Oh, it's another green. Oh, this stupid Iron Core. 7 or higher. It's still attacking the same guy. How? How did he do it every time? So I couldn't even heal because my Nethermancer thing didn't come out. Oh, man. This is a bloodbath. Oh, of course. Now I get the opportunity to do a heal action. Great. Man. All right. So we're doing 7 or higher, 8 or higher, 9 or higher with 3 dice. I think I still do it. I have to kill the thing before the Geomancer, man. Or I go after the Deathvine. The Deathvine's elite. I just need an 8 or higher because we're going through that one piece of difficult terrain. But like the transfer life isn't working for me. It's just so bad. So bad. Let's go for the Tremor. I need a 9 or higher. 3 dice. I mean, I don't know what else to do right now. I rolled a 10. 8, 9, or 10 cancels. Hey, the mighty Tremor has fallen. All right, so recruit Tremor is out. I can remove this off. I'm going to take the new Tremor out. So these tokens are out, and that's fine. We can do transfer life. Oh wait, never mind. The Iron Core is just amazing. The Fallen gets to activate again. I think we can go after this Tremor now. Part of me is like, how do I not go after this stupid Iron Core, which has been awful. Just so bad. So 1, 2. Wait. Let me think about this. The Iron Core, this Iron Core is definitely attacking that. That's the only way he can attack him. So we don't want to get next to that. Could just try to mess with his Geomancer because he is going to keep healing some things. Yeah, it's a problem. That is a problem. I would like to go after that Tremor, but I don't want to be a place where the Iron Core is attacking both of those suckers. Well, there's no more Iron Core activations this turn anyway. So that's a thing, because he already pulled 3. This is so crazy. I don't want to get too far from this Nethermancer, but he has weapon range of 7. As long as I keep line of sight, that's fine. The Geomancer, man, that's a lot of heal. That is a lot of heal. If you take that off the board, it could be really helpful. The crazy thing is my first 2 fallen activations did nothing because of stupid stone skin. It's so bad. Let's try to take out the Geomancer. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've been doing a charge. Now, the Geomancer's on elevated terrain. We're rolling 3 dice as a recruit, and we're attacking the Geomancer. So he is a 5. We need a 6 or higher, but because he's elevated terrain, he gets 1 more defense. So we need a 7 or higher with 3 dice. And I rolled 6, 6, 3. If anyone wants my Pavlov's house like video before this one, like you just, I mean, it's amazing. I guess. Do I have line of sight to that? Oh, I don't even have line of sight to that spot anymore. You know, I wouldn't have gone there because I still want line of sight from the Nethermancer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'll go right there. This Iron Core is attacking. He needs instructions because it's the original. So 1 objective. Nope. Assault and Catalytic Blast. Most enemies within range. Their range is 5. Doesn't matter because he can't hit both of them because they're on different elevations. So he's either hitting the Nethermancer or he's hitting the Fallen. He will go after the weakest. Oh, shoot. He could stop me from spawning any new enemies. I think that strategically is brilliant. So if he goes after this spot, the Nethermancer is standing in difficult terrain. So he will get that bonus even though it's an area of effect attack. It's a veteran, so we need a 6 or higher. We need a 7 or higher because we're standing in difficult terrain. Still 2 dice. 7 or higher is super bad. Oh my gosh, dude. Like every time. It's just unbelievable. So no more units coming in for the order, man. That is it. We got down to 4 activation tokens next turn. That comes out 4 to 8. That's a great ratio. So bad. He is still attacking until defeated. So it's 5 or higher now because I'm now a recruit. 6 or higher because of the difficult terrain. It got a 6. I mean, of course it got a 6. It's so bad. So bad. All right, Nethermancer. No one's injured, so I can't do transfer life to anybody. I think we try to take down this Death Vine a little bit. Sure, Death Vine has what? It's a 6. We need a 7 or higher to get damage on it. Wow. We have to get some of these dudes out of here. That's a clean shot. Doesn't go through anybody. 7 or higher against the Tremor. I rolled a 5, 3, 2. Yoink. Geomancer. Hey, the Geomancer's engaged. So we have to do that instruction now. What's he doing? He rolls a 1. He's going to withdraw. So he tries to withdraw. He gets attacked, but then he will heal himself next turn. So he's withdrawing. Again, Earth travel. He can move pretty far. So 1, but he gets attacked as he leaves. So 3 dice against him. Hey, I rolled a 0, 9, and a 6, and I needed a 6. So great. I succeed on all 3. And now he's going to move away. He'll probably heal himself, but he doesn't want to get too far. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll want to stay in difficult terrain probably. This doesn't really matter. So 5. He's still within range to heal the Tremor if it comes to that. All right, so we got damage done on one of their own turns. I mean, this is really bad. This is not going well. It is not going well. I mean, it's just a couple of things switch. Again, just a transfer of lives. The stone scans, I mean, it's 1 or 2 rolls, and it really changes the complexion of a game. Pretty hard. This Carnage is being attacked by that Iron Core. Nethermancer is being attacked by that Iron Core. So that's the end of the round. We're going to take these 9 tokens. No, 8 tokens. That's right. That's right. There should be 7 left in here. Right. These 8 tokens. I'm going to pick 4. Definitely putting this in. These fallen are out. I thought I was going to get another fallen out there. Ha, 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 ha. Laugh, laugh. Yeah, I can't really use Bloodthirst anymore. I used 3 fallen activations that last turn. This, this, and this. The Iron Core just needs to start rolling bad at some point. Ugh. So yeah, I went from 6 tokens to 4. And the Nethermancer got dinged too. So that's what makes it bad. Because I was really expecting to be able to get some tokens back by just pulling out a few more recruits, but it was not meant to be. So we're gonna get 7 of the 8 of these out of here. Let me shuffle them up a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These were my 4. Oh, I've already put them in the bag. Let me get those 4 out of the bag. Make sure I can separate everything a little bit. All right, cool. Put them in. So ratio of their activations to ours is not great. Speaking of which, Iron Core going after the Nethermancer. So the Nethermancer's in difficult terrain. Iron Core is a veteran. It's still rolling 2 dice. It needs a 5 or better, 6 or better, standing in difficult terrain. And oh, it missed. Whoo! Roll like me, Iron Core. That's right. How do you like it? The Wraith. The Wraith is rolling with 3 dice. Close combat attack against the Deathvine. It needs a 7 or better. Let me finally lose this elite dude. Oh my, yeah, I rolled an 8. Okay, woo! Okay, Geomancer's all the way up there. He would be able to heal himself though. So he'll his next activation, he's probably just going to heal himself, which is fine. All right, the Geomancer, we're going to roll. Well, it's going to interrupt any orders just to heal himself anyway. There are no allies within range because this Deathvine's all the way down here. So again, bam, Geomancer is now healed. So those first 3 activations could have gone worse. I'll take it. I'll take it. What do we get? Geomancer. Geomancer is going to roll. Oh, it's going to go. Oh, I rolled a 10. Alter Earth. Now, it would not do Alter Earth. It would just interrupt it and it would heal the Deathvine if the Deathvine was in range. If the Deathvine is not in range, it's going to just alter Earth. And I think what makes the most sense for that is I think it's going to want to give itself range to the Iron Core. So it's going to make that flat and that flat. This gives options to the Tremor too. So yeah, just make it flat. Makes it flat. Altering Earth just like a Geomancer. All right, the Wraith is going to attack the Deathvine with 3. We need a 7 or higher. I rolled a 6, 4, 4. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Just uncanny. Yoink. Tremor. Tremor needs instructions. What are you doing, Tremor? 6. It's engaging to the closest enemy, and it's going to do close combat until defeated. The only one it's really getting to is the Fallen. So 1, 2. There we go. That's why you flatten the Earth. Go kill that Fallen. It's actually really bad. The Tremor now rolls 4 dice because of course it does. So it needs a 6 or better to defeat the Fallen. It gets an 8, 8, 2, 4 because, you know, they know how to roll. I really hope the Nethermancer comes up before he dies. After that, we have the Nethermancer. Oh, transfer life. This could be huge. Who do we feel confident about damaging? Well, let's go after the Deathvine. So we are going to difficult terrain. So it's, again, we need a 7 or higher. And it becomes an 8 or higher because of going through that difficult terrain. That Iron Core veteran would be a 7 or higher, 8 or higher because we're going through that difficult terrain. Let's try to knock the Deathvine down to a veteran. 3 dice, 8 or higher. I rolled a 1, 2, and 3. So at least, I mean, it's a straight. I mean, I mean, the crazy thing is that once again, I could have transferred life to the Fallen, and I can't because I missed. And now because the Fallen is in line of sight, and now the Fallen's going to be dead because of the Tremor. And so it's going to be the second time that I was about to give the Fallen more life, and it didn't work out. So bad, dude. Like I'm like a little bit tilted right now. I'm not gonna lie. That was really gross on every level. Iron Core is attacking the Carnage with 2 dice. The Carnage is a veteran, so we need to this attacking this space. Anything on that elevation is affected. So it's going to be a 6 or higher. And that's how you roll a 10 every time, kids. That's just how you do it. It's pretty sick. Yoink, Deathvine. Deathvine is engaged, so we need to do engagement orders. It's a 7. It's going to do close combating a strict the weakest enemy. There's only one that's adjacent. It's the Wraith. The Wraith gets +1 defense because it's up on elevation. So it needs a 6. It would be a 6 or higher normal. It's a 7 or higher. Close combat's 4 dice with the Deathvine. So 7 or higher. We get a 7, 7, 1, 6. 8, 9, or 10 cancels. Nope, I rolled a 7. The Wraith is injured. Remind you that the Deathvine was attacked 2 times unsuccessfully, because that's awesome. And now the Nethermancer is going to go again. Nethermancer is attacking the Deathvine. It is trying to do, and it's attacking again. It's normally a 7 or higher, 8 or higher, because going through that difficult terrain. 3 dice. I rolled a 10, and then I could transfer life, and I'll transfer life to the Wraith because I can really not afford to lose that guy. And that should be good. I only have 3 tokens next turn. My Fallens are both out, so I can flip those over. There's no more Thrall, so I can flip this over. They still have 1 of each. Nope, they don't have any more Hellbore, so I'll just go ahead and flip that over. The Deathvine's engaged. The Geomancer is not. He needs no instructions. They're both carrying out their orders still. Great. We have 3. I don't get my token back this turn because it came out after my units died. I'm going to get the Wraith. The Nethermancer might be dead. Yeah, I mean, the transfer life is nice, but the dude might not even be alive. And part of me wonders I should have just moved him, but I was trying to go for that transfer life to save the Fallen. But if I move him, he gets out of the Iron Cores away. There's no guarantee that Iron Cores will be activated, right? Because it's one of the things where they have so many tokens left, like you can't predict what's getting activated. So hopefully that Iron Core doesn't get activated, and that'd be a little bit better. But it's really risky to be wasting activations like that. Really, really risky. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the 2 Carnages and the Wraith, and just probably say goodbye to that Nethermancer. All right, so we're still pulling 8 for this guy. If you want to count it this way, I mean, I have literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of health left to give, and the Erthen have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's a little bit different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Should be 7 left in here. Yep. And these come here. So down to 3. Pull out a miracle. Not seeing it happen, kids. Ugh, so frustrating. All right, the Wraith. All right, Wraith is going to attack the Deathvine. We need a 6 or higher. All right, come from high ground. 4, 4, 4. Deathvine. What are you going to do, Deathvine? Deathvine is engaged. This withdrawal. Roll a 1. Nope. Constrict the highest value enemy. Great. Within range. Highest value enemy within range is going to be the Veteran Carnage. And now the Veteran Carnage can't even move, which is super bad. Man, that's really bad. That's like the worst roll. I'd much rather just attack the Wraith, right? That's bad. All right. The Geomancer. Geomancer needs instructions. It heals the enemy. There are no injured enemies because, I can't roll anything good against the Deathvine. So it's going to just try to wall itself off a little bit. Why not? We're going to go a little difficult terrain here, or difficult terrain. I mean, whatever. Who cares? I'll put difficult terrain under itself. Add up to its defensive value. Yoink. The Carnage. Well, the Carnage needs to move, so it's going to remove its Constrict token. That was a fun, exciting turn. Oh, the Carnage again. All right, so that's 6 activations in a row. It's going to be really bad. So what happens is if the enemy isn't defeated and just moves, the Iron Cores will just find new targets. Now, this Iron Core is not in a great place to really find any targets because he's not having line of sight to a lot of things. We have 6 more activations coming from them. That's so nasty. It's really bad. If I go here or here, I mean, if I put myself in a square, that Iron Core will clearly attack both of us. Clearly. I think I come down here and hope the Deathvine doesn't activate again. It just seems like the best idea right now. This guy can't get line of sight to anywhere. there. So that's fine. But since he moved, then he would move. He would actually move after the carnage. So movement is funny. So I was here. If I move there, then all of a sudden I'm engaged with that iron car, which I don't want to do. I could just move here, but then he could just attack there and still get me. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. That iron core is gonna move after me because he's really invested. So he's gonna move one. He wants to target that space. No, he can't target that space. He wants to target that space. He targets that space, and he's gonna hit the death mine too. So he's gonna move 1, 2, and be back in range of fighting the carnage because that was his main target all along. The death vine. The death vine is going to activate. It's not going to withdraw. So the question is, does it roll a 2 through a 5 or a 6 through a 10? It rolls a 5. It just constricts the highest value enemy. So it's just going to constrict me without attacking me, which I appreciate. It's courtesy. Thank you, death vine. This goes the iron core. That guy's attacking the Nethermancer. It's going to be a 6 or a higher. One of the two. Hey, it rolls like me, which is great. That iron core is now going to keep attacking me here. The cat iron blast space could be like that, which is fine. He's going to need 2 dice. He needs a 6 or a higher. 2 and a 7. So now we're back to recruit status. It's tough though because I can't get transfer life in play because the Nethermancer, I'm just not trusting he's going to be alive. Looking at the way this played out, if I put one of those in, it would have been better. We need a 6 or a higher, 2 dice. Yep, Nethermancer is out, so we only get 2 activation tokens next turn. And yoink, Tremor. Tremor needs new orders. I rolled a 10. It's going to move to the closest enemy and close combat until defeated. So it's going to move 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's now going to be attacking the carnage. Since I summoned die, I can take this back. We'll go with this and the carnage token. It's great. Wraith. This is out. Nethermancer's dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this token down here. And it's really snowballed on me. Super unfortunate. A lot of stone skins, a lot of bad rolls. That iron core recruit that just would not quit, just wiped me out. Super bad. It is what it is, and that's like, again, if you think about the Erthen pods, like when the new ones come out, if I had rolled a different kind of enemy, instead of the iron core, then they're just positioned differently, but that guy was right there and just was wailing away at me for a while. So here we go. It is 8 tokens to 2. Seems fair. Yoink. All right, carnage. Maybe we can wipe out this Tremor. I don't know. So the carnage is going to go. It is attacking with 2 dice. We need a 7 or higher. 7 or higher with 2 dice, and then I can't roll an 8, 9, or 10. Ugh. Go for the death vine. I'm not going to have enough activations. I mean, the carnage is going to be dead. I have 1 activation around. It's bad. All right, we'll go for the Tremor. 7 or higher. Yoink. All right, 8, 9, or 10 cancels it. Nice. Injured. Get rid of all the Tremors. Like a moral victory right now. All right, this is coming up. Iron core. Iron core needs new orders because it killed its last target. What's it going for? It's going for 1. Well, that doesn't matter. Assault and cat iron blast. It's going to move to most enemies. Let's try to get line of sight on this carnage. So 1, 2. It gets line of sight there, which is enough to go after that carnage. So basically everything's going to be feeding that carnage this turn. So I probably should have gone after that death vine. We'll see. We got a chance. So we're saying there's a chance. The Tremor is attacking the carnage. It needs a 5 or higher. Yeah, that will do. 9 on the 0. And death vine, it's going to roll for engage instructions. Constricting the highest value enemy. It's going to constrict the Wraith, which is not ideal. Next, it is the iron core attacking this space. It is attacking with 2 dice, and it needs a 5 or higher. Carnage nicks the 5. Just gets there. All right, awesome. Super dead. So that's going to need new instructions. They're both going to need new instructions, and he's going to need new instructions too. Of course they're going to need new instructions. The Geomancer needs instructions. The death vine is engaged. So we did not wipe out the Tremor. The Tremor gets his new instructions. What is it? It's 2 scavenge, assault, and shockwave. Nope, it's only a rookie, so it's going to move and engage. Oh, the Wraith! The Wraith is on! Yoink. Oh, the Iron Core. It needs no instructions. It rolled a 7, Assault, and Cat Eye and Blast. So 1, 2. It has line of sight to there. That's all it needs. Oh, interesting. Well, the Cat Eye and Blast, it can't target an ally. So it's going to actually have to move, which is actually nice. This, because the Tremor moving in there actually really cramped up that dude's style. So he's going to need to figure out a way he can get to a space where he's only attacking. Oh, it doesn't matter. Right, because it's a different elevation. He can attack that very space. So one, what's his range? 5, 4, 5. It actually has line of sight already? You got to be kidding me. How is that possible? Yes, it does. All right, dude. Good job. You're the best. So yeah, it's just attacking. It's attacking with 2 dice. I'm on elevated terrain, but it's not going through elevated terrain, so it can absolutely attack me. And since it's on my spot, again, it's not going to hit any of its allies. There we go. So 2 dice. It needs a 6 or higher. It rolls an 8. 8, 9, or 10 cancels. I rolled a 3. Down to my final bit of health. And I'm constricted. But I'm not stunned. You know, there's that's on the bright side. What do we have here? Yoink. Oh, Iron Core. It also has line of sight to me. So it needs new instructions. It's a 10. It's going to move to close enemy and close combat. So we get a little bit of a reprieve there. And actually, I flipped those 2 around. It should be like that. So it's going to move 1, 2. So I have 3 of those suckers close combating against me. Close combating is now a verb. Oh, the Geomancer. What do you need to do, Geomancer? Geomancer gets instructions. It's a 6. It's going to move to heal. So it's going to try to get into range of that Tremor. It's got 5 move. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right. I mean, I'm not sure that's perfect, but whatever. Oh, and there's my token. I don't get it back, even though a unit died this thing. So we're going to try to kill the Tremor as our final, last hurrah. I feel like we accomplished something. So we're going after the Tremor. I need to roll a 7 or better with 3 dice. And I got it. Stone Skin, does it apply? No, it doesn't. The Tremor is out. Cool, so we got 1 more round. That's fine. So yeah, I have constricted. I couldn't move, but I could still attack. I'm going to get 1 token next turn. I think I should choose the Wraith. I don't know what you all would do, but I think the Wraith is the best choice for me. We're going to take the Tremors out. So 1, 2, and there's another Tremor in here. 3. So they're all done. So we're only pulling 7 for the Erthen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yoink. That's how I feel. That's sum up this game in 1 word, Greg. Yoink. That's about right. I got a couple of thoughts. We'll get to this as we round this up, but let's see how long I can last. Well, the Iron Core, we're doing close combat. Close combat for a rookie is 3 dice. Needs a 6 or higher. 7 or higher though, because I'm up on a hill, and the Iron Core is not a huge enemy. 7 or higher. It rolls a 10, 8, 9, or 10 to cancel. Nope. I rolled a 1. That's about fitting. The Erthen have reigned supreme on the battlefield. So, a couple of thoughts. Yeah, my favorite games are the ones that frustrate me the most. So, you know, I think that's... you play these games at high levels and do challenging things, and you know, sometimes it doesn't work out and can be really frustrating. Dice rolling games can be especially frustrating. I start rolling the camera and it's time for me to just have just comically bad runs of rolls, and that's totally fine. It's part of the game. You know, I think in a game like this, it bothers me less. In a game like Pablo's House, it bothers me less. In a game like Zed's, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, something that can be frustrating, but like I just find that game so wacky. Crusoe, it used to drive me nuts. You know, there are certain games where, you know, when I felt like there wasn't enough tactical interest, you know, beyond like I just need to roll well. Like Crusoe is like the rules of the game are such that it's not like you can really get better at a certain point. At a certain point, you know how the game's played. You just need to do certain things and hope that you get lucky enough to do it. You know, this game, there's just enough tactical interest for me that even when I was just sitting there with that one Nethermancer, like, I gotta, maybe if certain things on my way with the transfer of life, being able to knock out their Tremors is huge. I mean, the Tremors are the hardest, you know, units to really deal with because that stone skin and whatever. And I was able to get them knocked out. I just wasn't able to do it quick enough, right? And not being able to limit. I mean, I had both their pods spawned right away. That recruit Iron Core was just stupid. I mean, he did so much damage to me. That was the worst times. I mean, not only in my rolls, but also, when I had a good roll, I would roll Stone Scan, when I couldn't do the transfer life and losing the Fallen. I think every level, the Fallen, Elite, Veteran, and Recruit, had the tokens come out in a different way. I could have healed, or had one roll gone a different way. I could have healed. There were so many opportunities for things to really turn toward the order here that they just didn't really come together. I mean, the Abomination, if anyone's wondering, the Abomination, they're huge. They have Horrid Maw, so they can do a close combat attack to like anyone around them. But then they also do that to their own units. But then their cannibalize ability kind of triggers in and allows them to, get life for basically if they do any damage to an adjacent Nether ally. I find them really hard to put into place in this scenario, especially because everything's so tight. It's an interesting unit. It costs 3, 5, and 8. There is an argument to say, especially if once someone dies, I can pull someone else out. I mean, it might be an argument to say, hey, let me get a veteran Abomination instead of an elite Carnage, right? Because you see, as the Carnage gets weak, they're all of a sudden not doing that much. But the problem is these Iron Cores did so much damage to me that I wasn't really able to take advantage of the Bloodthirst. Because one of the cycles I like to get into with the Carnages is that I have the Carnages on the board. I have a veteran Geomancer, on the board. First of all, they get Hoard Assault and the thing. They do damage to an adjacent unit, do 2 attacks, and the Nethermancer can heal the Carnage. But again, my transfer life just wasn't triggering. Still not upset about getting that one Carnage up here, and I just ended up always having other ideas of things I wanted to do. I never really got that Carnage integrated, but I had, again, the Thrall, the Fallen, and the other Carnage up there, so Hoard Assault was kind of in a good place. We took out that Hellbore like quick, which made me super happy, man, because that Toxin Burst can be super nasty, but you don't expect a recruit Iron Core to come in and just. I don't think I missed. I missed twice. That's right. I never missed against the Fallen. I think I missed against the Carnage twice. So the way that came out was really unfortunate, but it's just so sick, man. Geomancer wasn't as awful as he can be. We weren't getting unlucky with heals on their part, right? It wasn't like we had to do multiple damage to the same thing twice. I think the Geomancer healed himself once and might have healed the Tremor once. Early. I mean, the Death Vine didn't really do much. It was just kind of trying to take out those Tremors. If you get a different set of rules from Iron Core, if I could have kept that veteran Nethermancer and in play long enough, I probably strategically putting the elite Nethermancer where I did, made him very vulnerable in a way that was probably a strategic mistake, because just was assuming I could keep this guy around for a while. If I had just the ability to bring in another Fallen and another, Wraith, even at recruit status, I would have had a chance to really do some things. Because the number would happen when I stopped being able to use that ability, in the scenario, I stopped being able to keep the number of tokens I had in the bag, right? So a lot of things. The other thing I want to adjust a little bit is playing at a high difficulty. I mean, when you're playing at +3 tokens for the Erthen, obviously it can be a little swingier. There's more opportunity for things to go wrong. I have beaten this scenario on the difficult level a couple of times, so it's not an absurd level for me to play at. I did try some new strategies that wasn't the best, and off camera I'll go play it again and win it and put it away and come back and play as the Erthen in a few months, right? So that was that. I hope this was a fun introduction to the game. Definitely was a unfortunate series of rolls and probably a little bit of bad strategy mixed in there, but I will revisit that question when I am going through the tape and editing the sucker up. But this was great. Thanks again to David Thompson. Thanks again to DVG for giving me this opportunity to put this game on the channel. We will be back again with it at least one more time, and then we will see. If you want to see what else is coming up on the channel, go on my Patreon page. The link is in the description of this video below, and there you will find a public post I put there at the beginning of every month, about a week beforehand, so you can see what's coming up in the month to come. I did notice last month I accidentally had it on private. If you try to see my schedule and it is private, please contact me and let me know, and I will make that a public post. It is intended to be a public post for your viewing edification, folks. And that is it. Speaking of edification, I'm going to go get some sleep and think about what I've done or didn't do here tonight and become a better person and gamer and all that stuff as a result, right? I don't know, something like that. Let's let's find a way to make this sting a little bit less. It stings. It does sting. I was excited. I really had been doing very well off camera, so this was this took a couple of unfortunate turns in ways that is leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not gonna lie, but that's why we play the game, right? It's kind of keeps you on your toes, and you can never really get to a place where you're winning 100% of the time, right? Because these games will find a way to punish you when you start thinking you got it all figured out. So clearly I do not, and that's good. It's good. It's a deep game. It's a good game. Really excited to get it to the channel. Any questions, comments, epiphanies, put that in the comment section below. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, happy gaming.